The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Mark the truth while live on air light. Tough enough, Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene flash to feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Chats on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Mark the truth while live on air light.
What up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house again tonight. It is good to see all you beautiful people jumping in the chat room so quickly. You already know the routine. Leave your DNA on that like button just in case you get lost in the hills of Tennessee and Dolly got to come find you. All right? You definitely need to leave that DNA. Also, if you're brand new, make sure you sub up, ring the bell for notifications, all that good shit, okay? And today we are talking about the Menendez brothers and, of course, Richard Allen. Now, the other day, I was up here, we were discussing the Leilani Simon trial, the Sarah Boone stuff, and somebody brought up they said, Dolly, what do you think about the Menendez brothers? Should they go free? And right then, right in the middle of the show, off topic, a big ass debate broke out. Christy Ford, this was a long weekend without y'all. Well, I had to take my weekends and do family time. Okay, family time. And then, of course, usually Sunday through Friday, I'm on YouTube. Okay, so y'all get plenty of me. Dolly got to get a day off too. Which yesterday was a beautiful day. Me and PJ went to the amusement park, right? It had it was themed for like Halloween. So they had like haunted houses and stuff like that. So we went out on a little scare journey with ghosts and goblins and all that good Halloween stuff. Okay, but back to the subject at hand. So we was discussing Leilani, guilty, all 19 charges. Murder with malice, first degree murder, disposing of a body, 14 counts of lying to the police. She was found guilty on all of them. Also, later that night, we went 2 for 2. Sarah Boone was convicted in like a little over an hour and a half once it went to the jury. So I haven't been able to update you guys on that, but I'm sure you guys know that by now because y'all are true crime sleuths, right? So Sarah Boone was found guilty. Leilani found guilty. Now we've gotten to the point where they're talking about letting the Menendez brothers out of prison. Now me, I think that is a bad move. Now, some of y'all are going to disagree with me on this, right? And that's why we're going to debate this a little bit tonight. And I am going to open up the phone lines in just a little bit after we watch a little bit of stuff on the Menendez brothers. You know, I found this to be the case. And you know, you don't have to agree with Dolly here. You know, you can have your own opinions. This is not an echo chamber. But every time they come out with a documentary that favors a criminal, everybody all of a sudden wants to let them people go. Okay. We've seen it in different cases, you know, Tiger King, West Memphis 3, and now the Menendez brothers. So at what point do we allow killers out of jail? Okay. Now, a lot of people say, Dolly, you just don't understand. The Menendez brothers were molested by their father, and he was torturing them, right? He was going to kill them. He was going to kill them, and they had no choice but to brutally murder their mom and dad. Dolly, you just don't get it, right? And I'm thinking, people, please do a little research into the case, okay? Just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit would show you that that is not the case. This was a premeditated murder, all right? And a lot of logic is, well, if the father molested them, he deserves to die. Okay, listen, nobody deserves to die in this world. If you break the law, you're not the judge, jury, and the executioner of any crime. Now, we also got to remember that the father of the Menendez brothers had never been accused prior to this of doing anything with anybody. Okay, the mother never molested anybody, but she was also shot brutally until they had pump shotguns, and they shot their parents while they were sitting peacefully watching TV in the den until they ran out of shotgun shells to shoot them with. Okay, they shot these people so many times that one of them's head was almost decapitated, both parents almost unrecognizable. Okay, and after the murders, one of them takes a vacation. One of them goes out and buys a Porsche, a Rolex. Not very sad for somebody that just brutally murdered their mama and dad, right? Now, a lot of people say, well, he molested them. He deserves to die. Well, if you know anything, the older Menendez brother molested the younger one. So with y'all's theory of he deserves to die, then that means the older Menendez brother deserves to die because he was a molester and he molested the younger one. Okay? But that ain't, that still is not the case. If anybody was doing anything, it was the brothers with each other. This is truly what Dolly believes, okay? And they plotted and they planned because they were some greedy, not happy with what their parents were giving them. Now, the Menendez brothers' parents believed that they should have their own careers, their own jobs. They should work for their money. They wasn't a family of handouts. Like, we just ain't going to give you a Porsche. We ain't going to just send you on this vacation, even though they had the money, right? You're going to have to earn it. And a lot of parents out here are like this, right? Like, I got money. Am I going to just give my daughter the money? Or am I going to say, hey, well, look, I'll give you this money, but you're going to work for it. You're going to come over here and help me make Dolly soap, Dolly lotion, Dolly candles. You're going to earn your money, right? Now, there's a lot of parents out here like this because it believes that it instills that hard work ethic that you're going to need when your parents are not here. A lot of times in this world, I tell my daughter, I have a daughter, she's 24 years old, just in case you're just tuning in, never seen me before. She's 24 years old, and I tell her, look, I'm not going to be here to help you forever. You're going to have to go to school, have a good job, start a career, and earn your own path. I'll be always here to help you with your car insurance or when you're behind on your phone bill. I won't always be here for that. So you're going to have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and do these things. Everything in this world is not a handout. Okay. Now, some parents or a little different than that. They give their kids everything they want. They were like, well, I didn't have this as a kid, so I want my kid to have this. And they just hand it out and hand it out and hand it out. But the Menendez parents, they didn't seem to quite be like that. And, the whole spending of the money and buying the Porsches and, the line and the plot and the premeditation in this murder is what to me says these people do not need to be out of jail. What is our country coming to where we're allowing killers out? Okay. If you're going to allow a killer that's been molested out, then you might as well go through the prison cells and say, hey, which one of y'all been molested? Come on. Let's let you out. Let's let you out, because that's the reason you done your crimes. Now, here's the thing. One of them was they were both over the age of 18, living at home, no jobs, living off their parents. Now, most people would think if you was being abused, and listen, kids run away from home every day in this country for abuse. They're getting abused. They run away. They never come back. They hate their parents. We see people that come in this chat room right to this day that were abused by their parents. They hate their parents. They don't have nothing to do with their parents. They don't kill their parents. Okay. Now, let me tell you this. If their kids started killing their parents that were molested, we have a lot of dead ass parents in this country. Right. And some people go, listen, if I was being abused, I would do what I had to do too. Right. And I get that. I don't want to see anybody abused. Don't get what I'm saying wrong. I don't believe that they were abused at all. I don't. I think they were spoiled little rich kids, right, that didn't get their way, and they plotted and they planned the execution of their parents, right? So, days before this, they used a college ID from somebody else. They went and purchased guns in a different city because they didn't want it tracked back to them. So they went to a different city. They purchased these guns. So if they didn't plan on killing their parents, why would they have purchased this gun? Now, when you listen to their story, the older brother says the younger brother came in there crying and the dad was going to kill them, and they were in fear for their life. So they ran and grabbed the guns and shot their parents. But you had already went and got those guns. You had already planned on killing your parents, or you wouldn't have went and got the guns. So this is something that it just didn't happen. Like, he touched my booty, let me shoot him, right? And then, of course, the mother did nothing. The mother did nothing, and she is brutally executed along with the father. Now, if your father was molesting you and they just killed the father, right? I would say, okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, let's give the boys the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the father was doing this. But when they executed the mother, and the reason they executed the mother is this, because if they would have killed the father, all the money would have went to the mother. It wouldn't have went to them. So the mother couldn't stay alive, or they wouldn't have got the money that they were spending. And the mother was just like the father. They wasn't doing these handouts. They wasn't doing this whole, let me buy you Porsches, let me buy you Rolexes, let's spend money on shit you don't need kind of parents. No, they wasn't like that. So anyway, they're talking about resentencing the Menendez brothers. And if they do resentence them, and they do take life in prison off the table, they are eligible for parole today. Okay. So they could instantly get out of prison. They could parole out. And now a lot of people are thinking this money is gone. This money is not gone. They had millions and millions of dollars. Okay. And they've been in prison. So they couldn't spend this money, but they're the last ones left of the estate. And the rest of Menendez family does not want them out of prison. Now, TikTok, okay, these young true crime people, right? 14 million. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Now, they have done the last 30 years in prison. And some people will say, well, 30 years, They should get out, right? No, hell to the no, hell no. Life without the possibility is exactly that, right? You're saying lies, Dolly. I am definitely not saying lies. I'm absolutely telling the truth, 100%, nothing but the truth. So help me God, right? So help me God. You got to remember, I lived through this whole thing. I was there for this, okay? I was there for this. They were tried twice. The first time ended up in a hung jury, okay? Because they were crying all this abuse and making shit up. Right by the second court hearing happened right after O.J. Simpson was acquitted. What, in 1996, I believe? I could be wrong on the year, don't quote me, but I believe it was somewhere around 1996, a good ways back, right? A good ways back. And, you know, the outrage of OJ getting off for, you know, chopping people's heads off, which I like to call it chopping broccoli, okay? But basically, OJ, you know, murdered Nicole and the other dude and got pretty much just scot-free away with it. So time the Menendez brothers went to trial, people were over killers getting away with murdering people, and they were quickly convicted unanimously by a jury of their peers, okay? And they were both sentenced to prison, life without the possibility of parole. To me, you had a fair trial. Not only did you have a fair trial, but you had two of them, okay? You had two fair trials, and a jury found you guilty, sent you in there. Now they're saying that so since they were a certain age on there, listen, California is the craziest place in the country. Shit like this wouldn't happen on the East Coast, but with you Californian people, you got these, you know, these governors and mayors that are a little, they want you to be able to smoke crack in the streets, right? That basically, let's be honest, the laws there are a little, you can break in somebody's house and steal their shit and you don't go to jail. You can go in the stores and shoplift. They're letting killers, rapists, everybody you can think of out of prison, right? Look, the rest of the country, we ain't doing that shit, and we ain't about that shit. And at this point, it basically is what it is. The Menendez brothers are going to get out of jail. Now, I disagree with it, and probably a lot of you guys disagree with it, but it don't really matter, because in this world that we live in, money talks and bullshit walks. And these guys are going to walk because they still, of course, are millionaires. In a world where we can buy our freedom, is that fair? If this was me or you, would we be let out? I think not. I honestly think not. We're going to jump into a little video from Court TV about the resentencing so everybody understands what's going on right here. And then, of course, we're going to open up the phone line and we're going to take some calls on it. Now, I see people out here saying, Dolly, you're lying. Freedom Menendez brothers already in chat. Listen, and you're more than welcome to say that. Dolly don't hate anybody for their opinions. I don't. I appreciate your opinions, and sometimes it makes for good discussions when you voice your opinions here, right? And they're different than mine. So tonight, when I open the phone lines, I want to hear from you guys that have a difference in opinion. Some of you can call in if you agree with me too, but I definitely want to hear from some of you guys tonight that think the Menendez brothers should be free. And let's discuss it. You can tell me why you think they should be free, and I will tell you exactly why I think they should sit the rest of their life in prison and rot, okay? And when I mean rot, I mean like an old ass potato. And then after that, they rot and die in prison. I say we bury them in the prison yard and let their bones rot, okay? That's how I feel about it. Now, there's one thing, you know, my mother passed away years ago, and I would do anything in this world to have one more day with my mother. So when these boys killed their mother, I felt no mercy for them. Helena says, hey, Dolly, thanks for addressing the Menendez brothers. Yes, I told you guys I would get to it. It just took me a little while because the weekend came and we went really hard for 8-9 hours a day, covering Leilani, covering Sarah Boone. So now I have a little bit of free time because them cases are over. And this makes for a good discussion because I didn't realize how many of you guys were really interested in some of these old cases that are resurfacing. Now, listen, every little trend that comes around on TikTok or whatever these kids platform these kids are on these days, they might not remember these cases like some of us older folks do here on YouTube, right? We all seen what played out in the Menendez brothers. And I know this may be I don't know the exact percentage of what the split is in this room, but I know a lot of people in this room agree with me, right? You agree with me that Menendez brothers should never see the light of day. And there's got people in the same room that support this channel that believe they should be let out, right? That they should be free, that they've served enough time in prison. The reason they did this is because of the torture they were going through. Some people are going to say as kids, but these were grown men. Okay, don't mistake it. When they did this, they were grown men. They wasn't kids. They could have easily packed a bag, walked out the door, left their parents' house, right? Never looked back, or notified the authorities. My father is molesting me. I'm being tortured. They had phones. They could have reached out and called somebody, but they didn't. They plotted and planned the execution of their parents. Now, let's jump into this video real quick because I want everybody to understand what's going on with the resentencing and why. So I bet the best way to do it is just go ahead and show the court TV from it. All right. And let's play this video.
We are in California this hour, where we're standing by for the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office to announce their decision about whether to allow the Menendez brothers to be resentenced.
And
Erik and Lyle
they
Menendez are
it.
currently serving life in prison without the possibility of parole sentences for killing their parents, Jose and Katie Menendez. They were convicted in 1996 after a second trial.
Now, during that trial,
96.
the brothers claimed that they were sexually abused by their father. And now, a recently uncovered letter from Erik to his cousin in the months before the murders appears to support that claim.
That's right. Now, I also just want to mention the first trial, all of that evidence came in. In the second trial, it did not, and they were convicted in that second trial. This decision also comes in the wake of the newly released Netflix documentary about the brothers, which has renewed public interest in the case.
All right, before we
see them Netflix things, when a director gets something, they can be, it can be biased. Like they had I think it was to show they're innocent instead of just being neutral in it. They favored the Menendez brothers, their innocence, and that they deserve freedom. That's the bad thing about these documentaries, that they can be one-sided. Now if the prosecution came out with a documentary, it would be totally different than the Netflix documentary. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Just keep that in consideration.
bring in our guest, here's more on the Menendez brothers' trial and their recent efforts for an appeal.
I ran around and shot my mom.
Where did you shoot her?
The street store and I shot her close.
I was just firing. As I went into the room, I just started firing.
In what direction?
In front of me.
What was in front of you?
My parents.
Lyle and Erik Menendez, the Beverly Hills brothers who were sentenced to life in prison for the 1989 murders of their parents, Kitty and Jose, are asking the Los Angeles County Superior Court to review new evidence discovered in their case. The brothers, who are both now in their early 50s, have never denied that they killed their parents. But they say they did it because they were acting in self-defense after years of sexual and physical abuse.
They denied it in the
During their
very
first trial in
beginning.
1993,
Before they were
Erik and
arrested.
Lyle Menendez took the stand and described the abuse they say they endured at the hands of their father.
Did you love your mom and dad?
Yes.
And on August 20th, 1989, did you and your brother kill your mother and father?
What do you believe was the originating cause of you and your brother ultimately winding up shooting your parents?
Me telling Lyle that,
Okay, is you telling Lyle what?
my dad had been molesting me.
Why did you kill your parents?
But Lyle had been molesting him. Okay. Make that make sense. By some of y'all's logic, the dad was a molester, So was Lyle. Okay. He molested his little brother. They openly said that he took him into the woods and he molested him. So should this man be free on the screen? He is a molester. He molested his own brother, right? Should Erik kill him? Why didn't he kill his brother too? It don't make sense. It's all bullshit that don't make sense. They made this up because they wanted money. Okay. They wanted a Porsche. They wanted a Rolex. They wanted to go on vacation, and they brutally murdered their mother, which let's give them the benefit of the doubt that the father did molest them. The mother didn't, right? The mother didn't do that to him, but they killed both of them and then went on a spending spree of their money and then tried to cover the crime up by, of course, getting rid of the weapons. Okay. Getting rid of the weapons for a premeditated murder. And they're saying they never denied it, but they didn't confess to it, right? They didn't come out and say when they found them dead, hey, we did it. No, it was not until they determined that they did it and they were suspects did they confess to the crimes. Okay. So they wasn't going, hey, we killed our parents. No, that ain't what happened. So when they say they never denied it, they did in the beginning until they were arrested for it, and then they confessed. So don't get it twisted.
Because we were afraid.
The guy in Menudo is taking a payday. Okay. He's waiting for all this time to get a little bit of publicity, right? That's it. That is totally it. If he was molested by this man, why wouldn't he say nothing for the last 30 years? But today, he wants to talk up now that there's money involved, right? Just like in the West Memphis 3. Why did the parents flip? Okay. Remember, the parents hated the West Memphis 3 in the beginning. By the time Johnny Depp's money got there, Eddie Vedder's money, Dixie Chicks, all Marilyn Manson, they're wearing free West Memphis 3 shirts because it's about money and it's about publicity. And that's why the Menudo dude, if you can't look at Menudo and tell every last one of them dudes are gay, something is wrong with your gaydar. Okay. If you can't look at the Menendez brothers and tell they're gay, something's wrong with your gaydar. Okay. Check your meter. Okay. Check your meter, because something on your meter is absolutely fucking broke. Okay. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Okay.
Jurors also heard from Andy Cano, a cousin of the brothers, who testified that Erik Menendez swore him to secrecy and asked him if his dad ever gave him massages.
He was actually trying to find out if any of these massages were normal.
What did he say about where the massages were?
Well, he told me his father was massaging his.
He used that word?
Yes, he did.
The 1993 trial ended in a mistrial with the jurors deadlocked.
He told them this right before the murders. So see, this is planned. This is all planned, right? So when he hit up his cousin, this is slightly before the murders. You got to remember they went and got the guns, right? So to me, this is all premeditated, part of their plan. These boys wasn't stupid. They plotted, they planned the executions of the parents, and they went through with it. And to me, they should sit in prison forever.
And unable to come to a verdict.
The court finds that the jury is hopelessly deadlocked and declares a mistrial in this matter.
But 2 years later, they were back in court, and this time, Erik and Lyle Menendez were convicted. Now there is a renewed effort to possibly overturn their convictions or get the brothers a new trial. Attorney Mark Garagos has filed a writ of habeas corpus obtained by Court TV that details evidence that he says has never been presented before a jury. The first item is a letter written to Andy Cano from Erik Menendez about 8 months before the murders. The letter was found in Cano's papers after his death. Erik writes that Lyle wasn't going to be home for Christmas, and he was at the house alone and was trying to avoid his father. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now. I can't explain it. He's so overweight that I can't stand to see him. I never know when it's going to happen, and it's driving me crazy. The letter continues. I know what you said before, but I'm afraid. You just don't know Dad like I do. He's crazy. The second item Garagos points to in the habeas motion is a newly disclosed allegation that Jose Menendez molested a member of the boy band Menudo back in the early 80s. Jose Menendez was an executive with RCA Records, and he knew the band's manager, Edgardo Diaz.
We got to remember that this man is no longer alive to defend himself, okay? So he can't tell you his side of the story. So you're only hearing one side because he was brutally murdered by his kids that wanted to spend his money, okay? They didn't have no problem spending that molester's money, did they? Right? They went out and bought a Porsche, went out and bought Rolexes, went out and was spending $50,000 on tennis lessons. One of them was vacationing around the world, living their best lives, right? So how scarred were they really when the two brothers were sleeping with each other? And if you notice, their relationship is a little bizarre, right? Even when they're in prison together. All they wanted to be was together because they're not acting like brothers. They're acting like lovers, okay? Brothers don't act like that.
Roy Rosello was 14 years old when he joined Menudo. According to his sworn statement, he was in New York with the band when Edgar Diaz asked him to go with him to the New Jersey home of Jose Menendez. Rosello was featured in the documentary Menendez and Menudo, Boys Betrayed, and described what he says happened.
Jose Menendez me dijo, toma este vino. Después que yo me la tomé, yo me comencé a sentir un cansancio, un peso. Yo no podía reaccionar porque eso me está...
Okay, he drank a glass of wine and he started feeling tired, basically. I don't believe this dude at all. If this was the case, why didn't you say something 30 years prior?
Estaba tomando cuenta de mi cuerpo, me drogaron. Y después de eso, yo amanecí en el hotel.
Since their convictions in 1996, Lyle and Erik Menendez have filed appeals in state and federal court that have repeatedly been denied. Garagos is asking for the court to either vacate their sentences or to permit an evidentiary hearing so the brothers can offer proof concerning the allegations in this latest habeas motion.
Let's bring in our guest here in studio is crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. Also joining us, criminal defense attorney Laura Yeretsian. Matt, let me start with you first, because this was almost 40 years ago, 1996. So 38 years ago, this conviction happened. They've been in jail since that time. Most cases like this, I would argue, go away. People forget about those individuals serving life sentences without parole. But this one, all of a sudden, has exploded. How did we even get here?
You know, I'd like to think of it as the fact that there's a resurgence in a look at this case, right?
Listen, I know there's a lot of people that were sexually assaulted as children, maybe even in this chat room. Just because you were, don't mean they were, okay? Did you kill your parents? Did you go out and spend their money after it happened? Right? I think not. So, I mean, people side with these people because they too were abused. And I can understand that. But that don't mean everybody was abused. The amount of premeditation in this crime shows how evil they are. Since it got out and became a reality star, they want to let out all the evil. Who will be next? Chris Watts? Disgusting. Yeah, exactly how I feel, Jax. That is exactly how I feel about it. The Gypsy Rose stuff, you know, killing her mom, you know, having her boyfriend do it type thing. Yeah, I mean, who's next? If you start letting out killers because they had their booty touched, everybody that kills somebody is going to say, hey, well, I was molested. This is the reason I did it. This person, you know, victimized me, so I killed them. Does that make it right? I think not. I think not. I think the jury was right. They deserve life in prison without the possibility of parole. So I know that, you know, people in here, we're going to disagree on this one, but I don't want everybody fighting over it. Okay. It ain't about getting people fighting in the chat room. It's about a discussion. you know, and we're going to give everybody the opportunity that thinks they're innocent. Or, well, not innocent because everybody knows they're guilty, but everybody that thinks they were molested, we're going to give those people the opportunity to call in. Now, here's the thing. If the young man in Menudo was arrested and he never told anybody, that's not good either. Why didn't he speak out? Right? If I woke up in a hotel room today, right, with some lube and P. Diddy standing beside me, okay, you can believe I'm calling the fucking po-po. I'm telling everybody that you had 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't saying things like this don't happen. Don't get me wrong, guys. It does. It happens all the time. People do molest their children. But I don't think this is the case in this story. I believe they started planning this at least a year prior to killing their parents. That's all it was let's build an alibi. Let's murder them. And if we get caught, we're going to say that this happened and they thought they would get out of trouble. But they were grown men. They could have used every opportunity to get up and walk the hell out the door. You know why they didn't? Because they didn't have no money, right? Their lives would have been working at Mickey D's. They would have been damn bagging groceries at the damn food line. That's why they didn't leave, because they couldn't leave that money. But they wanted that money. Greed is a horrible, horrible thing. And even if they did get molested by their father, they should have reported him. They're not the judge. They're not the jury. They're not the executioners. And if that's the case, why free the other one? He's a molester himself. He was molesting his little brother. Okay? Should he have got shot too? Should he have got shot too? That is my question.
You know, this started in '89 when this first happened. There was the 2 trials brought by Court TV when we were a young network back then. And you had all of those people and eyes on the case. You had these 2 young, good-looking men from Beverly Hills, California as the defendants and wearing sweaters each and every day. And then talking about these.
When men look that good, I hate to tell you this, they're gay. Okay? That's the first sign that they're gay. All right? Because our average dude don't give a shit what he looks like, right? You think I wake up and care what the hell I look like? You know why I don't? Because I ain't gay, okay? That's why, okay? So you can tell. It's easy. If you have a gaydar, you can tell. Women, y'all should be able to easily tell, right?
These unthinkable crimes. So now you have.
If you got up and did your hair and put on your makeup, you gay, okay? You are.
New generations looking at this case and the re-evaluating this trial and the evidence when you have these things like the Netflix documentary and then also the docudrama. Take a look.
Our life was one thing. And we decided we weren't going to take that anymore. Starting right now.
The bad thing about this is people hear one side of the story, you know, because the mom and dad's not alive to tell their side of the story. So you only get to hear their side of the story. Yes, makeup is definitely a sign. You see what I'm saying? Like anybody knows when everybody knows. I mean, usually I can tell. The only time I can't tell in this world is they got these like metrosexual dudes that act film, but they do that just to pick up women, right? So they're a little bit hard to read. And then you got these dudes that are real like lumberjackish, right? That are like super manly and they're over manly. And then to me, that's a sign too. Like if you over manly, that's just like you like, you know, you may be on that fringe. You kind of, my radar kind of goes off to you too. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to demand more out of life.
So, I mean, you have all of these new resurgence in the storyline. So you have new generations looking at the case. And this is what also led to the petitions and family members trying to get the release of these of the Menendez brothers, who were 18 and 21 consecutively when they were convicted in their second trial, where there was no cameras allowed and limited defense of sexual abuse.
You know what's interesting, Matt, is that a lot of people point to the O.J. Simpson trial as the beginning of this whole true crime sort of boom, but I've always said it was the Menendez brothers case because that was before O.J., one of the first trials to be televised. And
no, it was definitely the O.J. trial that blew it up. Like, people cared about the Menendez brothers back then, but it wasn't till O.J. that really blew up. Like, the reason I went on court TV out of all the people when I was down in Georgia and everybody was hitting me up to come on their shows is because of O.J. Simpson, right? Because I watched the O.J. trial as a young buck on court TV. So I've always had that respect for court TV. Like, I'm not a news whore. Like, you know, like, let's just say Bullhorn Betty, right? Jumps on every news camera she can get her fucking fat ass face in front of. I don't do that. So when they ask me, do I want to give an interview? No. Get the hell out my face. Get the hell out my face. Right. But court TV asked, and I was like, yeah, because I just always liked court TV. Court TV was my shit. During the O.J. trial, I sat around every day watching that stuff. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Right. You couldn't mess with court TV.
I mean, it had everything, like you said, Matt. It had the rich and famous. It had really great personalities. Leslie Abramson, who was representing them in the first trial, really just an amazing attorney. And one of the things that's happened in recent years is that celebrities have sort of attached themselves or had interest in this case. Tell me about that.
Yeah, you know, you have celebrities that are producing.
I forgot. Y'all were so sensitive. My bad. I apologize for saying her fat ass face. I meant her fluffy face. Absolutely fluffy. Okay. Sorry if I offended anyone. Fluffy fingers, not sausage fingers. Okay. Not allegedly for entertainment purposes only. Remember, Dolly's for entertainment purposes only. Nothing here is to be taken as fact. Her face may not be fluffy. Okay. I might just be kidding.
Producing true crime podcasts in themselves, and they're also behind the scenes of these docudramas and documentaries that we're watching, including this case in particular. There are a lot of celebrities that have been vested in this particular case, including Sunny Holston, who has talked about it on her talk show, saying that this really makes her think back to a lot of the cases that she prosecuted and whether or not sexual violence would have been a changing factor decades later. Then you have people like Kim Kardashian, who have been very outspoken after the Netflix docudrama came out. She actually visited the Menendez brothers in prison. She said, posting on her social media feed, that they should be released. And then you had, of course, Rosie O'Donnell, who has been very outspoken about this. She's been speaking on court TV about it as well.
No, I never thought OJ was innocent. I always knew he was guilty. Okay. I didn't like the fact that they tried to make it into a racist cop was trying to plant evidence against OJ when OJ is just a monster. We all know this now. But back then, you know, a lot of people thought it was racist police trying to frame a black man. Right? A lot of people did believe that. But we know today, we don't think that today, that Mark Fuhrman's a racist. Right. What did he ended up becoming like a court TV analyst there for a good while. Right. But everybody, you know, tried to destroy this man defending O.J. Simpson when O.J. Simpson was nothing more than a murderer. Right. And then the whole book, if I would have done it, the only reason he didn't come out with that book is because the family was going to take the money from the book. So he's like, okay, I ain't even going to do the book. Because if I do the book, they're just going to take the money from it. And he didn't want the families of Ron and Nicole to get the money from the book. So he just wanted to take everything, and he's a piece of shit. OJ is a piece of shit. There's no other word about it. I don't give a damn how many Heisman trophies he's won. He's a piece of shit. He's a murderer. He's a killer. And one day he's going to burn in hell for his crimes. That's just the way it is.
And she said this in her podcast.
I did not know Roy and didn't know the fact that he had been raped by my father and was another victim came out through a documentary investigation they were doing on the band separately from anything related to Erik and I.
Yeah, she spoke to our Vinnie Politan on closing arguments, and she said basically that she feels that it's time for them to be released. Just one of the big names that has been behind this movement.
Remember when he tried to put the glove on like this? He had his fingers spread out and he was trying to put a glove on. Who in their right mind has ever tried to put a glove on like this? Okay. With their fingers spread wide open. Have y'all ever tried to put a glove on like that? If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Anybody that puts a glove on usually puts their fingers together, slides their hand in it, and then puts their fingers into the fingers, right? Nobody puts a glove on like this. Damn, Freddy Krueger don't even put a glove on like that. Okay, I just say it. I was like, he's just literally got his hands as far as part he could get them, trying to put his hand in the glove like this. Nobody in their right damn mind puts on a glove like that. Nobody. Dolly Vision, OJ is dead. Yeah, I forgot. OJ, you know, my memory ain't what it used to be. Well, he's burning now, okay? He's burning now. Start the flames. Start the grill.
To have them released, and that has led to what we might see today there in Los Angeles County.
All right, let's bring in Laura Yaretzian for some analysis as well. It's actually been almost 28 years, almost 30 years, 28 years that they've been in jail. And I think that that's a very valid argument to be made.
Well, the whole robbery thing at OJ, you know, it's hard to rob somebody for your shit. You know what I'm saying? But by this point, they just wanted a reason to put OJ in prison. You remember when he was still in cable? Y'all remember that? He was still in cable. And then, you know, he did the whole robbing the dude in the hotel for his like footballs and things like that. He thought he was a thug. He thought he could get away with murder. He thought he could get away with anything. And then they put him in jail. Well, they give him like 50 years and then they let him out. Yeah.
Laura, that today's environment would treat sexual abuse allegations differently. And the environment in which that exists now, it would be a mitigating factor. I do think it's true.
Yeah, maybe it would be a mitigating factor now, but this ain't now. They did this in the 80s. Okay. And back then that shit didn't matter. And it shouldn't matter today because they ain't being tried today. Well, now they are, but they should sit their ass in prison forever.
And I agree with you 100%. The society as a whole is less tolerant towards sexual abuse. When it comes to sexual abuse, it doesn't take much. Look at the cases that we've been seeing recently, all the sex trafficking cases that we've seen, all the sexual assault cases, starting with the Harvey Weinstein, then moving on to P. Diddy. Now we've got also Mike Jeffries. So there's this trend of huge focus on sexual crimes, sexual abuse, sexual assaults, people abusing their position of power to molest or sexually abuse people. So the society as a whole is a lot more educated. They're more aware, more alert, and a lot more sensitive to these issues. The time is ripe for a case like this, right? Especially if it's a retrial or a resentencing, depending on what the DA's office ends up doing in this case.
You know, Laura, there's been a lot of suggestion that if this evidence was allowed in a trial, let's say a retrial, things would be different now. Maybe there would be a manslaughter conviction as opposed to murder. But what I want to put out there is this idea that I think there's even the possibility of a complete acquittal, because what we're learning about this type of abuse is the way it affects the brain, the way you look at the world. And if they truly believe, they testified to this the first go round, that their father told them if they told anyone about it, he was going to kill them. And they truly believe that he would kill them. And they acted in that way when they confronted him with this abuse. I think a jury would have been fine saying, look, we believe that you believe that your life was in danger, and it wasn't a wrong belief, which would have made it manslaughter, but we believe it might have been the right belief.
They were not in danger. Their mom and dad was watching TV in the den. Okay. If the dad would have kicked up in the room and tried to molest them and they shot him, would be one thing. But this man was literally sitting down on the couch with his wife in the middle of the night watching TV. You telling me that's a threat? The threat has to be right then. It can't be some threat in the future. It has to be right then to take somebody's life. I was scared for my life, so I killed this person. You were scared that this man was watching TV? That makes no sense. Let's hit 1,000 likes. Hit that like button, guys. You were just tuning in. There's 808 of you in here.
With all the knowledge we have now about, domestic violence.
And who knows what a jury would have done, right? If this evidence had come in. We know at the first trial, it was a hung jury, which means it did impact that jury.
Yes.
Who knows what the next jury would have done? But unfortunately, the next jury didn't really get to hear a lot of that evidence related to the sexual abuse. I mean, today we know a jury may acquit and may even nullify, even if they think it's an unreasonable belief, right? A wrong belief, they may just nullify, even though that's technically not legal, but anything could happen. In this environment of almost zero tolerance for sexual abuse, I wouldn't be surprised if they would be acquitted if this case is retried. So I agree with you.
And just a reminder that even if the DA recommends a resentencing and them getting out of jail, the judge obviously has to be in agreement with that and has to say, yes, that's what we're going to do in this case.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Steps.
And we're going to take a break, but when we come back, I do want to remind everyone about the seriousness of this crime.
Oh, gosh,
I think that's gotten lost as well. So
That's
we'll
pretty
talk about
heinous.
that. Yeah.
All right. Up next, we are going to listen to testimony from the actual trial of the Menendez brothers. Stay tuned.
Talk about the premeditation. Talk about what they did. Talk about them hiding the weapons. Talk about them trying to cover it up. If you just get they got their booties touched, yeah, people are going to feel bad for you. But when they know you plot and planned it and you could have just left, that's a little bit different story. It's a little bit different story.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, Sarah Boone prepares to learn her fate as the final witnesses.
Court TV.
Lyle and Erik would continue to be victimized. They would be victims of a system that wouldn't hear them. And they would be victims of a culture that was not ready to listen. They would be mocked. They would be called cold-blooded killers, left to rot in jail and denied any hope of redemption. If Lyle and Erik's case were heard today, with the understanding we now have about abuse.
I hate hearing it if they were tried today. Well, this didn't happen today. This happened a different time. Okay. And they were convicted. They were sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Why are we giving these killers chances to get out of prison? Right? Because there's a little trend going on TikTok. That's some bullshit to me.
And PTSD, there is no doubt in my mind that their sentencing would have been very different.
I wonder if he had PTSD when he was buying that Porsche or when he went in there to pick out his Rolex. I wonder if his PTSD was kicking in then. Okay. When they were flying around the world and spending $50,000 on tennis lessons. I wonder if his PTSD was kicking in while he was hitting that tennis ball. Get the hell out of here with that shit. These woke ass people.
This afternoon, Court TV is watching very closely developments out of California. Erik and Lyle Menendez will soon find out if they have a chance at being released from prison after being sentenced to life without parole in 1996 for brutally murdering their parents. This following a second trial.
Both brothers did testify that they killed their parents after suffering years of sexual abuse at their hands. While we wait for the Los Angeles DA to announce his...
At their hands, their mother was sexually abusing them, right? The mother was going, no, that wasn't happening. The mother never touched her sons. No, the mother never did anything, and they still brutally murdered their mother. Okay, we can say, hey, let's let them out of prison for killing their daddy. He was a monster. Their mom won't. Okay, their mom won't. There you go.
Decision on whether or not to recommend and allow the brothers to be resentenced, we want to take this chance to listen back to some emotional testimony from Erik and Lyle Menendez.
Why were you feeling guilty?
I was feeling guilty because I had the 13-year-old conversation I just sort of let go, and I never really followed up on it. I didn't really want to follow up on it. I was so happy it went that well with my dad, and I just kind of let it go. And he told me this, and I was kind of like, and he didn't say that, but I felt like, why didn't I do anything about it?
Like, why do you molest your brother? You know? And then you're like, well, I feel we killed my dad because he was a molester. Well, you was a molester. You know? I don't get it. I think, okay, if we let any of them out, let's let Erik out. Let's let the youngest one out. He was the one being molested by everybody, allegedly. Okay, and this is just allegedly. There was no proof that this man ever molested anybody prior to this, and he's not here to defend himself, to say, hey, man, I didn't do this. They're lying out their ass. These are greedy little bastards that I wouldn't buy them a Porsche, so they killed me. We don't get to hear what he says. We only hear one side of the story.
Like he was blaming you somehow?
Maybe. He wasn't, but I felt that way.
Were you blaming you?
Yes. And also feeling guilty when I asked him if he liked it. And
What did he do when you asked him?
I was angry. What?
What did he do when you asked him if he liked it?
What did he do?
Yes.
He said, of course he didn't like it. And he just, I don't remember exact words, but he was crying. And I told him, I believed him. And I did believe him.
Why did you believe him? You didn't believe him at first.
Rephrase the question.
Did you believe him at first?
Not really. I wasn't sure. I just didn't. It was just shocking. That was just my response.
What made you believe him?
Just the way he was talking.
That's a lot right there. If the mother knew, she's just as guilty. Lady for justice, you're right. But who's to say the mother knew? She's not here to defend herself. She's not here. We can't just assume that the mother knew, right? Because that's what you'd be doing. You can't say for a fact that this mother knew. That we go into the fact Jen Soto right now is not in jail. Okay. What if the mother didn't know? What? So we let him out on an if? I don't think so. I don't think that's a good enough reason to let somebody out of prison that brutally murdered 2 people in cold blood and tried to cover it up. Got rid of the weapons. Premeditated the killings. This ain't something where the dad came in and went to molest the son and the son kills the father. This ain't a case like that. If that was to happen, yeah, we let somebody like that go. That's horrible. Who would want that to happen? Do you have the right to defend yourself? But this ain't a case of defending yourself. They could have left. They were 18 years old. They could have walked out the door. This ain't a case of that. So don't make it into be a case of that. We can't be like, if this, if that, if this, because that's just too many ifs. What we got to go with what we know. That they walked in, they premeditated the murders, they killed their parents in cold blood, got rid of the weapons, and then only when they were caught did they confess to the crimes. That's what we know. That is fact, right? I'm not here to make things up on these guys, not whatsoever. I'm just here to tell you what the facts are.
Talking about it, just his tears and it was obvious that it was true. And
when you're 18, you are not a kid. You're an adult in this country. You can join the military. You can go to war. You can move out. Okay. They can't keep you there. You can call the police and say, hey, I want to leave. The police will escort you out the door. Right. So you may be a young man, but you at 18, you not a kid. All right. We put people at the youngest 12 years old in prison here for the rest of their life in this country. Okay. At youngest 12 years old, charge them as adults and put them in prison for the rest of their life. 18, you are a grown ass man. You know right from wrong. He knew he could leave, and they chose, instead of leaving, to take their allowance, the money that their parents did give them, and go buy weapons to kill those exact same parents.
And I just didn't feel my brother was going to, there was no reason to lie. Clearly he was coming to me, wanted me to do something about it. And it was.
Well, why would he come to you? You are a molester yourself. You molested him. All right. If I was Erik, I would have got the hell away from you, my dad, everybody. I'd have been gone. Right. Like, you were molesting your brother yourself. Now, how are you taking up for your brother? And you know, he's the one that planned it, right? He planned this, right? And he was molesting his brother. Make that shit make sense. No, Dolly, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm absolutely 100% right. These people are not here to tell their side of the story. You're hearing one side of a story and you're telling me I'm wrong. That's it. He was molesting his brother. That is fact. He admitted it in court that he molested his brother. All right. Should he be dead too? Should he be dead? Should somebody shoot him? Because that's what he was doing. And premeditating, planning the killings, going to get the guns, shooting them when they were not expecting it. They didn't have a fighting chance. They were sitting on the couch watching TV. And then they just bust in and start shooting them. At what point were they in danger? They never were in danger that night. His mom and dad were sitting on the couch watching TV.
It's true, because, you know, my dad never denied it when I talked to him about it.
At some point, was your gun empty?
Yes.
And was there something about your mother that you learned then, either through Eric, or you saw something or heard something?
Could see sort of behind my dad, really barely, but could see somebody moving, seemed like moving in the direction of where my brother should be. And so I reloaded.
You reloaded? Is that yes?
Yes.
And what did you do after you reloaded?
Now, is he crying for his mama right here? Or is he crying because he's caught and he's going to prison the rest of his life? Okay? These dudes are no different than Leilani. They're no different than Sarah Boone. They're no different than anybody.
I ran around and shot my mom.
Where did you shoot her?
I just reached over and I shot her close.
Was that the last shot that was fired? I guess.
Yes.
What else did she say Saturday night that was not part of this standard upset thing that she'd say?
She told me that if I would have kept my mouth shut, things might have worked out in the family.
What did you think that meant?
That meant that things had not worked out in the family, and I believed that she was going to kill us.
Well, things had not worked out in the family, and whose fault was that?
Mine, because I had told Lyle.
And keeping your mouth shut, what did you think she meant?
My question is, PTSD was happening. Well, was it happening when they were buying Porsches? Was it happening when they were buying Rolexes? Was it happening when they were traveling? Was it happening when they were plotting and planning to get weapons? You can't use selective PTSD as a reasoning. Oh, they had PTSD right now, but they didn't have it then. Do they have it now?
Shut about what?
About the stuff between Dad and I, and that I had told Lyle.
And what did you think?
Why would you tell Lyle? Lyle was molesting you. Your older brother was molesting you too. It don't make sense.
She meant by things not working out in the family. The family had had problems before of one kind or another, like all families, hadn't it?
Usually there was a lot of argument in these when she would say,
only true victims of SA should have an opinion. That's not true. That's not true. Because we don't know that there was SA. You don't know there was SA. We weren't there, right? There's two sides to a story. This is their side. We didn't hear his dad's side. His dad could have came up on a stand and said, I never touched any of them. They're making this up because they want my $14 million. They're greedy little bitches, right? And they showed that. They showed their actions after the death of their parents because of what they did. They instantly went for the money. They instantly started spending their money. If they hated the parents so much, right? If they hated their parents so damn bad, why did they want their money? Why did they even take the money? They could have walked away from the money, just like they could have walked away from that house. Just because somebody assaults you don't mean you can kill them. Now, if you're defending yourself during the assault, yes. But they wasn't defending themselves during an assault or a SA encounter. That dude was sitting on the couch watching TV. The door was unlocked. They could have walked right out the door. They could have called the police. They didn't. You know why? Because if they would have done that, they wouldn't have got the $14 million. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If they would have turned their dad into the police, he would have went to jail, right? The money would have stayed right in the hands of the mother, and they wouldn't have got it. Maybe the dad did do it, but still no reason to execute him. Still no reason to murder your mom in cold blood and then go spend their money. Premeditation, premeditated means guilty, right? They planned this. This ain't something that happened spur of the moment. If it happened spur of the moment, then I would agree with a lot of you guys. Like, let's give him a little bit of leniency. You know, he was about to get lubed up like P. Diddy. But no, that ain't the case. These dudes, if you let them out today, they're going to go sleep with other men. Just facts. You like it or not. They're homosexual males. You can clearly tell. And what do you think they've been doing the whole time they've been in prison? Sleeping with other men. I hate to be the bad guy and say that, but it's just the truth is the truth, right? It just is what it is.
There had not been anything. Since Thursday night, there had been no arguments on Friday, no arguments on Saturday, and suddenly she was coming up with this statement that the family was through, and I really thought I knew what that meant.
You said the family was through. Now, she didn't say the family's through or the family's over. She said, but for what you did, things would work out.
She said that things hadn't worked out.
And did you therefore interpret that to mean the family was over?
Yes.
And did you interpret that to mean that certain members of the family were not going to be alive?
Sustained.
How did you interpret that? What did you interpret that with respect to the various members of the family?
I thought they were going to kill Lyle and I.
At some point, Mr. Menendez, did the massages that you were doing on your father change?
Yes.
And was there an occasion when he asked you to do something new?
Yes.
And what was it? Would you tell us what it was that he asked you to do?
He took off his underwear, and he had never done that before. And he had me massage the front of him. And so I started, I massaged his calves and his thighs, and I skipped over his genitals because I didn't want to touch him, and I just went to his stomach, and he said no.
And did you understand what he meant?
Yes.
And what happened next?
I just touched him.
And did anything else happen after you touched his genitals?
Yes.
And did anything else happen?
Yes.
What happened?
I started to rub him, and then he told me to massage him with his mouth.
With his mouth?
My mouth.
And do you remember whether or not at that point your father had an erection?
Yes, he did.
And how did you feel about his asking you to massage him with your mouth?
I didn't want to do that because I had never seen him like that, and I didn't want to do it.
Did it frighten you?
Yes.
Did you therefore?
This is horrific. If it's true, now this is coming from a killer that was spending these people's money. Okay. Now you're absolutely right. This is horrific. This is terrible. This would be the worst of the worst if it's true. Okay? If it's true. And there's a big if. All right, we don't know if this is true. Right? We can't say for a fact this is true. You can say if it's true. Right? But right there is your reasonable doubt. If this man is not alive to speak for himself. Okay? So if this happened to anybody, this would be horrific. I agree with you on that. But I don't believe this happened to him. Now, maybe he was being molested by his older brother and they had a relationship going on, and that's why they act like lovers to this day. But far as his father, I don't believe his father did any of these things, because his father was sitting down there with his wife. You know what? Did the wife not know? Right? Did the mom not know? And what mom would let this happen to her kids? I mean, I guess there's some out there. There's mothers that murder their babies. But we don't have any proof that this mother knew or this father did any of these things. This is statements coming from two killers, two greedy ass killers that were spending their money like it was it was going out of style. Victims are rarely believed. And that is true. And I don't believe these people because they're killers. If they were just victims, if they would went and called the police, I could believe them. Man, it's terrible what's happening to these young men, you know, in this rich family. But they didn't do that. No, they premeditated a murder. They planned a murder. And you can't say it wasn't planned because they got the guns weeks before the killings. Right? So they knew they were going to kill their parents. They just didn't know exactly when they were going to decide to kill the parents. But that night, they thought it was a good night because the parents were unexpected. They couldn't defend themselves. They were sitting there unarmed on the couch, watching TV in the middle of the night. They burst open the doors and shoot them so many times. I mean, way overkill. Way overkill. They wanted to make sure they were dead. Not just the father that was hurting them, but the mother too. I don't know. There's no justifying this for me. I don't care really if the dad did essay him. It still don't give them the right to murder in cold blood when they were 18 years old and they could have just left that house and turned them into the police, and then to turn around and kill their mother too. And then what makes it even worse is then go spend the money. No, they're guilty. They're guilty and they deserve to be where they're at. And it sucks in our society that we're going to free some killers like this.
Refused and that ended things?
No, I wanted this time to go on with my dad. I didn't want it to end, so I was going to do what he said. I just didn't want to do all things.
All right, that is a live shot of the gaggle of reporters waiting for the Los Angeles County District Attorney to take the podium and let us know what he plans to do regarding the Menendez brothers. That should be happening any moment now. It's supposed to begin at about 4:30. So we're expecting that to happen again in just moments. Let's bring back in our guest, crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson's with us, and criminal defense attorney Laura Yeretsian. And one of the things I wanted to do, Matt, was remind people of the seriousness of this crime. Tell our viewers how prosecutors really painted these brothers as bad guys and how
they thought their parents would kill them. How can you say that? How can you say that they're, what is that? Paint it Lady 82. I mean, we don't know. You wasn't there. You're speculating to that, right? That they were in fear of their parents, because you're believing a murderer. Okay, I choose not to believe murderers that plan their murders and do it, right? One, if you're going to murder somebody, if you're capable, you don't think you're capable of lying? Think about that. You're capable of murdering your mom and daddy, but you ain't capable of lying. And then if it's your case, why did they go spend their money? You know, why would they have spent their money? Why wouldn't they have just walked out the door? One of them's 24 years old, grown ass man. Okay. That was molesting his little brother. And that's according to him. Okay. Cause he's here to speak for himself, but his father ain't. Okay. make it make sense to me. It don't make any sense. If you would have took the greed out of it, maybe, I give you, I try to give people the benefit, maybe. But when you start running out buying Porsches with the money, to me, it sounds like you wanted them dead. You planned on killing them. Like, because if you would have turned them into the police, they would have went to jail, right? But you wouldn't have got no money. So you didn't turn them into the police. You murdered them. So they pay for what they done and you get their money. It's all about the money, right? You ever heard that saying, follow the money, it'll answer all your questions? Terry, choo choo, Dolly 100% agree with you. And name of us really know. None of us really know. Sorry, I ain't got my glasses on. We need just to let them out, but we do know they killed both parents. We do know they killed both parents. We know they could have reached out to the authorities. We know they could have left the house. We know this was premeditated. We know they tried to cover up the crime. Okay. They can do all that, but they can't be liars. They can't be liars. They got to be telling the truth. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I believe they were liars. And when they got caught, they confessed because they knew there wasn't no getting out of it. This is a very bad precedent to set. Tammy, you're absolutely right. Because everybody that kills their parents are going to say, well, my parents molested me. Okay. So if you go kill your parents right now, all you got to say is, hey, they molested me. They touched me. They were doing these things to me. Woe me. Let me go. Okay. And I just don't see that as an excuse for murder. Now, if he was a minor, maybe, but a grown man, 18 years old, could leave that home at any time he wanted to and never look back. No. Okay. Just no.
How serious this crime actually was back at the time.
I'm glad that you're doing that because, they are cold-blooded, calculated killers. That's how they were portrayed in court in trial 1 and 2. And that's the facts here. I mean, they bought those weapons.
18 and 21. What did I say? 24? Okay. My bad. Don't matter. Both adults, both plenty of the age to walk out that door and never look back. They didn't do that. And if you're going to kill your molester, why didn't Eric kill his older brother? He was molesting you, but you wasn't mad at him. Why? Why are you not mad about your older brother molesting you, but you mad about your daddy molesting you? Because he was fat. Okay, that's what he said. He's disgusted by him because he's fat. But you wasn't disgusted by your brother because he wasn't fat. Don't that sound just a little weird or a little disgusting? Like, either way, okay? But listen, even I would, if the father did do these things, which he's not here to speak for himself, and he was never accused of any of this before this, it's still at the age of 18, don't give you the right to go in there and kill your mother and father. Even if he did do it and he did essay his son, he didn't have to murder his mother. Okay. He didn't have to murder his mother. His mother never did that to him. His mother may have never known or didn't believe or didn't have the proof, but he still murdered his mother anyway. Okay. And I mean, overkilled them, shot them till they were dead, then shot them till they were unrecognizable. Instead of putting them in jail, because if they go to jail, they keep their money. They just go to jail with money, just like they have, because they were the heir to their parents and they kept the money. Preach. Money, root of all evil. Choo choo train. Definitely. You ain't jumped on the Dolly train today. Get on the train. Okay. We got plenty of seats left. And I'm going to go about a couple more minutes and then I'll open the phone lines. And I really do want to hear from you guys that think they shouldn't be in prison. Because I know what your argument is going to be. They were SA'd, but we really don't have any proof to that, right? That's never been proven. Okay. So you're arguing something with no proof, but what we can prove is they premeditatedly murdered their parents and tried to cover it up and only confessed when they were caught. We can prove that.
They were doing robberies in the neighborhood of their friends, multi-million-dollar homes, and then they get the idea that they're gonna, eliminate and execute their mom and dad. And they planned it out. They practiced with those guns, those shotguns. They shot them at close range, blew off their faces, their hands, and it was a very gruesome scene. And you heard right there in that testimony that was captured by Court TV in our first trial there of these brothers talking about that he reloaded his weapon. And then after that, they went to the movies for an alibi. They picked up not any of the...
They didn't spend $14 million on lawyers. Their money's not ran out. Don't think they're broke. You think Netflix got to make them... They've been selling book deals. They've been selling movie rights. Oh, you think they're broke? Come on now. Let's be real here, people. Let's be real. Come on. Don't come in here with no fake shit, because Dolly will call you on your fake shit. I don't want to be mean, and I ain't even trying to be mean to you. But if you sit here and say these people are broke, you're full of shit. Okay? You're absolutely full of shit. And I hate to say it to you, but I will, because I got to be real. I'm a real dude, right? Living the real world, just as real as you breathing. I'm going to be just as real with you. All right? Don't come in here with that, they're broke. Okay? You don't get high dollar lawyers broke. Okay? You don't get these fancy ass lawyers broke. You don't get out of jail broke. All right? If this was me or you, we wouldn't be getting out of prison. All right, we wouldn't be getting out of prison.
The shell casings, but then they came up with some sort of plan to call 911 and cry and act like they've just discovered all of this. There was I was doing this in self-defense at that point in time. This was very brutal, calculated, and then afterwards, they were trying to spend a lot of that money buying restaurants, going on shopping sprees, buying Porsches and Rolexes.
Mark Garagos, his attorney, was just on that live shot as I was listening, Matt, to your really great description of the brutalness of this crime. I personally haven't decided if I've heard enough evidence to know if I believe them or not. But knowing that, Matt, there are a lot of family members supporting these two being resentenced, getting out of jail. But of course, there's some on the other side. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, the LA County Courthouse right there that you're looking at, it was a sea of media just a couple days ago, about a week ago, when there was a news conference by Garagos that we brought to you live. And there was also 20 to 30 family members standing behind them, and also family friends, discussing why they wanted these brothers, these killers, convicted killers, released, and how they have forgiven them, including Kitty Menendez's sister. Take a listen.
For many years, I struggled with terms with what happened to my sister's family. It was a nightmare none of us could have imagined. But as details of Lyle and Erik's abuse came to light, it became clear that their actions, while tragic, were the desperate response of two boys trying to survive the unspeakable cruelty of their father.
Now, one person who was not there was Kitty Menendez's brother. That is Milton Anderson. He has lawyered up and he's paying close attention to all of this. He believes that his nephews should not be released, and he also does not believe that there was sexual abuse in the household.
Let's bring in Lara Urezzi. And Lara, as we mentioned and as Matt explained, the original facts of this case were compelling. And remember, a jury did convict them. And some juries, the juries that they had in the first trial, heard about the abuse. And some of those folks were willing to convict, obviously, by the hung juries. But what do you think about the fact that they're being recommended for resentencing at this time, considering what we know about their actions both before, during, and after the original murders?
As far as the DA's decision is concerned, as far as resentencing, I think, look, in light of people's attitudes having changed,
there's that word again, if. Okay, let's throw all the ifs out. Let's throw all the ifs out. Let's don't judge this on ifs. Okay, because that's what a lot of you people are doing out here. Y'all judging this on ifs. If this, if that, if this, if this. Let's judge it on the facts. The facts are they went and bought weapons. The facts are they planned to kill their parents. The facts are they did kill their parents. They did try to cover up the crime. They tried to act like they discovered the crime and it wasn't them. And only when they were caught did they confess. Only when they caught were they being molested. That's facts. Okay. So let's don't discuss this on ifs. If this happened, what if a meteor would have hit them in the head from outer space? Okay. That's what an if is. If there was a body double that molested them and it wasn't their dad. If a kangaroo came in and punched you in the eyeball. Y'all weighing this in on ifs. If this happened, if this happened, if this could have happened. But let's don't do that. Let's judge it on the evidence we have. They planned it. They executed it. They tried to cover it up. Facts. There's no ifs in there. You didn't hear me say if they did it, if they got weapons, if they did. You didn't hear no ifs in anything I said. Only fact. Okay? We can say if a whole lot of shit, right? You know, what if they were involved in a child ring of people that molested kids and the dad was molesting? What if he was molesting Michael Jackson? Okay. We could if you to death, right? But that ain't fact. You got to weigh it on fact. Okay. First timer on the train. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Calypso C's. Thank you. We can't weigh evidence on ifs. Okay. That's like a maybe this, maybe that, maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You got to weigh it in on the facts. The facts are they did this, and this, and they did it in that order. And thank you for your support. And thank you for getting on the train for the first time. And if you haven't yet, make sure you hit the like button.
Understanding the impact that sexual abuse can have. I mean, as we were watching earlier, both Erik and Lyle testifying, you could see the impact and how emotional it was for them to talk about what had happened and what they'd gone through.
That don't mean it's real. These are the same people that murdered their parents. Okay, let's open the phone lines. I want to hear from you beautiful people now. I gave y'all enough of the story for the last hour and a half that we can open up the phone lines. Let's discuss it. Oh, you can't even see the whole phone line there. Let me put it on the screen. Let me put the phone line up. Dolly. Hello.
Hello. Oh, hey. Yeah, it has like a delay. How you doing, Dolly?
I'm doing pretty good.
This is Alamo City calling with my little Chiweenie barking in the background.
Thank you, Miss Margaret.
Yeah, the Menendez brothers are guilty. Now, I had forgot, because the last time I called, I was thinking it happened in like 93. No, it was 89. So 89, gosh, we were like maybe 15 years old.
Uh-huh. But I mean, I remember when I was 15, yeah, good.
I remember it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely remember it. Yeah, those are good years, but I remember it. And I couldn't remember, you know, the feelings that I really felt back then until, you know, rewatching this now. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe they killed their parents. Like, how do you, you know, do that with any kind of a forethought of thinking that you could get away with it, you know, because they planned it and made it look like a home invasion, you know, and but you had sparked my memory about them buying those guns in advance. See, I had forgot about all that kind of stuff.
And they were practicing with them. So they had went out and shot them a bunch of times, practicing close range shooting to learn the guns.
Yeah,
they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and the whole reloading and all that. So
and they tried in the beginning, they tried to make it look like a mob hit. You remember that from back then? They were trying to make it out to be a mob hit. In the beginning, they were leading towards the mob did it. And then when they were caught with the shells and stuff in their vehicle, they instantly were like, we were molested.
Yeah. I mean, wow. Yeah, just the level of deceit, you know, to go that far. And then when they get caught.
But now they're telling the truth, and everything else in the beginning was a lie, but all of a sudden they're telling the truth. If you're a liar, why should I believe anything you say at this point?
And that was their first trial. They got on the stand, didn't they? Trying to save their skin, because they thought, oh, well, we'll get on the stand and we'll tell our stories and they're going to feel sorry for us and then we'll be okay. I bet that's what they thought. It was all deceit. And I bet, I got to thinking about them spending that money and everything the way they did. I bet that their parents or their father was trying to get them to be their own man.
Yeah.
And it might have been some ultimatums that have been laid down about, hey, look, you're 20, 21 years old, you're 18, you guys need to start acting like responsible men. And they didn't want to take that. And so their end result was, I was molested. Oh my gosh. Like, no, I can't.
No proof of it. No proof of it. The man had never been accused of messing with anybody else. Not until 30 years later, till all these Netflix shit came out.
Well, and then that letter that they found, in the man's mail or whatever after he died, maybe something was going on, but maybe they kind of played it off.
Yeah, how do we know when that was written?
Yeah, that's true. They said it 88, I think is the date I heard.
Right. But how do we know that? How do we know this letter just wasn't dated then?
Well, unless there was somebody else that was trying to help them, by producing the letter.
There's other family members. There's other family members that don't want them in prison because they done figured, hey, we done lost the dad and Kitty. Why let these people? Some people will help their family just because they're family. They don't care. It ain't no bringing them back. So why let them sit in prison?
Exactly. Bringing you back to the old saying of blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let somebody else call in.
All right. Be good.
Good chopping up with you. Bye, PJ.
All right. Later. Yeah. I mean, listen, family will defend family even when they do something wrong. Look at Billy Joe Howe, Leilani. We love Leilani. She just murdered your grandchild, but yet you love her. Dolly.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, my name's Caitlin. I'm in the chat under Shaboogies. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Caitlin.
Hey, so love your channel, by the way. I think you're hilarious.
Thank
you. I do disagree.
Okay.
So here's where we're starting. All right. So the first point you were trying to make, the mom. Why kill the mom when she didn't have anything to do with it? Well, she did, and there actually is evidence in the both trial. Well, I don't know if they let this in the second trial, but in the first trial, there was photographs of the boys, Polaroids of them naked when they were young, and the mother's handwriting was on those photos, and she kept them. And then Lyle testified to the fact that those were in her possession, that she kept all those. So that, without a doubt, shows that she knew what was going on. But aside from that,
were there pictures? What type of pictures are you describing? Pictures of them as babies naked?
6 and about like 4 and 6, 4 and 7, 6 to 8, right around that time.
That's a lot of different ages you just named. I don't know. 4 to 8. You named every age you could be as a toddler.
I don't know exactly what their age is, so I don't want to say
Well, it's common back in the day.
They were little.
It's common for people back in the day to take pictures of kids naked, right? I'm sure there's some naked
pictures.
I'm sure there's pictures of me as a child taking baths and shit. Now it's child pornography, but back then it was normal behavior for parents to take.
Would you have pictures of your nude children without their face in the picture, just of their nude bodies?
Because one
that were in court.
Oh, okay. Because one, no, I wouldn't have that. We live in a different time and era where people don't take pictures of their kids naked. You know what I'm saying? But back in my parents' days, parents did take pictures of kids naked.
Right. But with their face and like in a bath, right? Not like standing up with each other naked with their face cut off.
I don't honestly recall the pictures, so I don't know. I really don't know on that one.
Yeah, that was in the first trial that was presented by Leslie. Okay, so moving on from that. Lyle, that we know of when he touched Erik, was based on the testimony. We only know of one time where he took him out to the woods and apologized for doing that to him on the stand.
But he apologized.
He apologized, yes.
You
but
think?
the thing is,
You think he really did that just one time? That he molested his brother just once?
no, it's probably likely he did it more than once. But the thing is, he was still young when that happened. They were both still young. And this was a learned behavior that Lyle had from his father, because from the time he was 6 years old, his father started showing him how to do that. Lyle wouldn't know how to touch Erik if he hadn't learned that behavior somewhere, aka his dad.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I mean, maybe it's learned behavior.
It's learned behavior.
But
so
where did he learn how
did he learn it?
Let me ask you this. Where did he learn how to premeditate a murder?
Okay, so
Wouldn't you think that would be?
That they premeditated
Wouldn't you think that'd be learned behavior too? Did his dad teach him how to premeditate murder?
Okay, so I was just touching on the fact that they were actually molested when they were young. So if we,
but how do we know they were molested by the dad and not like an uncle, a babysitter, or a caregiver, or something like that? How do we know he learned that behavior from his father?
Because when Lyle was 8 years old, he went to his cousin Vander, and she testified in both trials. And Lyle tried to grab her.
I remember the cousin. I remember the cousin testifying.
Right. So that corroborates from Lyle. Then you look at the fact that Erik wrote that letter to Andy. Now, I didn't want to bring that up because you're probably going to say, well, he premeditated the letter, but it just also is further corroboration to that fact. Okay.
Okay. Let's just say I agree with you that he was molested. Okay.
Okay.
But where does it become okay to premeditate the murder and then murder the mother? Like, where do we find this acceptable? Okay. I know two wrongs. I mean, I've always been raised that two wrongs don't make a right. I don't know, but you may have came up with something different way than I did.
No. It has nothing to do with me. It's simply like the facts and the education of where we are now. So if we're talking about just the premeditation, the fact that we have to say without a doubt that both of those brothers premeditated and planned that they were going to go in that room and shoot and kill their parents.
That's true.
100% right. You're 100% right. No, 1000%. There's no denying that. The denial, the other case comes from, okay, but why did they do that? It's not just because they were touched as a kid and decided let's get back at them now. No, there was an event.
If it was okay for Lyle to molest him, why did Erik think it's such a problem for his dad to molest him? He's getting molested by multiple people.
May I finish the point? Because we're talking about premeditation. Okay, so the premeditation was triggered by a big event. The big event was the fact that Erik had been molested by his father continuously up until the age of 17 years old. And he finally came clean to Lyle about this, right? And when he did finally come clean to Lyle about this, that set Lyle up. Lyle had been touched by his dad, but it stopped when he was around 10 years old.
I thought it was 13.
Okay, so he had no idea that this was still going on. So when Erik told him, he confronted his parents, and that was the big old blow up. And his dad said, according to him, you're not going to tell anyone. If you tell anyone, he didn't say he's going to kill them, but he pretty much said, don't tell anyone or else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when Lyle had that situation, he got with Erik. They were convinced that he was going to try to murder him because this is a man. He runs a record label. He's got all this power. You think he's going to let his little boy come out and say that he was touching both of his sons? Fuck no. Why would he ever let that get out?
I mean, had he ever murdered anybody before? Is there any allegations of him being a killer?
No,
but he's going to be a killer today, but he wasn't a killer yesterday? I'm just going to start killing today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to make that make sense now. We got to make it make sense. Now,
it does make sense. This man was a monster, and you have multiple people willing to testify that this man was a monster and evil and violent. Of course they believed if suddenly now they were going to tell everyone that he would kill them. Of course.
Okay, even if he said he would kill them, at the time that they murdered their parents, there wasn't no threat from their parents. It ain't like he had a gun or he had a weapon. He was sitting on the couch unarmed and was brutally shot and killed.
Correct. Their plan was to get them before they got them. was essentially in their brain what they were thinking. We have to get rid of that.
You might kill me. How do I know you might not kill me and I kill you first? I mean, that's crazy thinking right there. Let me get you before you get me.
Why do you think it's crazy for the older brother to confront the dad and the mom about these allegations and be told to shut it down? Why wouldn't they think their lives are in danger?
But why wouldn't
the history of that family?
Why wouldn't they just leave? Why wouldn't he take his little brother and just leave? They're both over the age of 18. Why wouldn't they just bounce?
Here's where it gets into the complicatedness of the mind of an abused person, right? That's where it gets into what does sexual abuse and physical abuse do to a person's mental capacity.
Can I tell you why? Can I tell you why I think so first? Because I think they were broke. And if they left their parents, they wouldn't have had no money and they would have had to go get jobs and work like a normal person. And they didn't want to do that.
Fair. I mean, that's not an unheard of motive for sure. But the spending of the money, it was their money anyway. The parents had control. It's not like they didn't get to spend their money when their parents were alive. They still had access to all that and got to buy and do things that they wanted to do, not to the degree they did once their parents were
exactly.
killed.
Do you don't think that's odd though? You don't think it's odd that they kill these people and then they go out and buy Porsches and Rolexes and shit like that? That ain't odd to you?
No, it's obviously that they were reacting to.
I'm sad, so let me buy a Porsche. I'm
now
sad.
what the fuck are we gonna do?
But yeah, I mean, that's the first thing I think about when I murder somebody. Let me go get a Porsche.
Okay, so anyway, the mother also, Lyle testified to the fact that when he confronted his parents, his mom said to him, and I quote, "What do you think, I'm stupid?" That was also another reason to show that the mom knew.
That she knew, that she was aware. Or, you know, what if she didn't believe her children? That, you know, listen, you with somebody for so many years that you can't believe that they're a monster. Is that unbelievable to think?
No, but if you had, go ahead, sorry.
Even if somebody came up and told you, hey, mom, dad molested me, and your mom's like, I've been with this dude for 20 some years. He would never do something like that to you. And she didn't believe it. Even though she had knowledge that you told her, don't mean that she believed it, that really was happening to you. Did she ever witness it happening? And they never made it out like the mom witnessed the father do these things to him.
Right. No, I don't think they ever said that the mom like saw it. But, and you're right, if that was the first time I was hearing that, and I'd be like, wait a minute, is that true? But it wasn't the first time she'd heard about it. Remember, Vander, when she was 17, had gone up to Kitty to tell her what Erik told her, or what Lyle told her.
Uh-huh.
And she grabbed Lyle and brought him upstairs and hit him and told him, you know, knock that shit off. And that's just one example. There have been multiple examples of when the mom had an idea but didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, Jenny right here just said, I want to make it as a point. She says, if I thought someone was going to unalive me, I am not staying in the same house with you.
Right. But see, the whole why at that moment they did it, it's so hard to judge the mind of people that have been sexually abused and physically abused for so long and what they think they need to do to get out of that situation. They couldn't go to the authorities because the dad is very powerful. All right. So
yeah,
let's
don't
say
worry.
Erik and Lyle.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
Let's just say Erik and Lyle go to the police department and they report their father and their mother for the sexual assault and the physical violence and saying they want to get out instead of shooting them. Okay. Let's say they did that.
All right.
Okay. They go to the police department. They say that. What's the police going to do? Do they automatically arrest somebody who's been accused of sexual assault?
No.
Do they ever arrest them unless they've got physical evidence?
They arrest people. They arrest people. For
they arrest people once they have evidence.
Well, you know, if they would have had nude images of them, like you're stating, as you know, as younger children, not toddler age children. But then maybe they would have had to prove to arrest them. But definitely the police would have got them out of the home.
caller believes they should off their abuser also. What? No. No. If my abuser was a very rich man who I had known was very violent and I had information about him that would ruin his life, and now he knows I have it, yeah, I'd probably be scared for my life. Definitely.
I mean, I can understand if you were being abused and you killed your assailant right then and there, but to leave and go plot and plan, you know, if they would have went to the police, they may not have been found guilty. Like you're saying, that the dad's powerful and they may not have did nothing to the dad. But what they would have done was made sure they were safe to get out the house and get there, because they were grown men. The police would have escorted them out of the home to make sure the father couldn't hurt them, and they could have went and lived their married life and, you know, dealt with it, got counseling, things like other people that are abused do, that don't murder their family members.
Who's to say that the father wouldn't try to get to them even not living in the house?
But let me ask you this. If somebody was to molest their kids today, okay, and then the kid went, you know, left, went, got a gun, came back, killed their parent, right? The one parent that molested them, I would say, okay, well, this kid probably don't deserve, you know, the death penalty, or probably to be in prison the rest of his life. They're going to need counseling. They're going to need these things. I could agree with you, but under the circumstances of that, they premeditated it, they executed it, they tried to cover it up, and only when they got caught were they molested. Then that's where I say these people are liars, and we can't believe what they say because they've lied previous to this right here that we're hearing now. Now, I do say what you're saying does have some belief into it, because of the cousin that said when they were young that he came to her, right? But this is just coming out when they were adults. You know, how do we know this cousin just wasn't siding with that person? You know, because it's her cousin. It might be her favorite cousin. She didn't want to see them go to prison. So she got up on the stand and said, well, he came to me when we were young and said that, you know, but I give you that. I give you that. Even if he was abused, okay, even if he was, I'm going to say if he was, it still gives them the right to premeditate and commit murder.
Right.
Murder is never the answer.
Correct. No, I agree. But that's kind of where the resentencing comes into play, right? Like, there are people who believe, well, you can't deny it. They 100% killed their parents. Okay. So no matter what, they murder them. So they do need to pay for that. And that's where the resentencing folks come in, where I am technically. They served almost 35 years. I believe they should be resentenced, time served, because they did deserve the 35 years for murdering their parents.
Let me ask you this. If I killed you today, okay, which I wouldn't, because you seem like an awesome, nice, sweet person. But if I killed you today, how long would you want me to go to prison?
Oh, if it were, well, were you abusing me as a child my whole life?
This is say, I don't know. No, I'm just saying, if I murdered you today, how long would
you just murder me today?
Yeah. How long would you want me to go to prison?
Life. You ain't never getting out, baby.
Why would you want something different for them?
Because they were abused as children their entire lives, and then physically abused, and their mom was aware of it and did nothing because she was too busy getting drunk and taking pills and being rich.
But they wasn't kids at the time of the murder. They were adults at the time of the murder. So these were grown people that were making grown-up decisions, and they decided the best decision for them was to kill their parents.
Well, Erik was continually sexually abused until he was
by his brother.
They were both physically abused.
By his brother, we know for a fact. There's the possibility that he was abused by his dad, but we know for a fact he was abused by his brother.
Where did the brother learn that behavior, Dolly?
I don't know. We can say the same thing about where did his brother learn how to premeditate a murder. He learned that too, didn't he? You know what I'm saying?
It's learned behavior. If a child starts molesting someone, 9 times out of 10, they probably learn that from someone molesting them first. Probably 10 out of 10.
Okay, you may be right. But somebody had to teach them how to premeditate that murder too. You got to remember that. But look, I want to thank you.
I'll let someone else get on your line. I'm talking your ear off.
All right. Well, it's good talking to you. At least you were civil and peaceful. And, you know, sometimes we just got to agree to disagree on things. But it was absolutely good to talk to you.
You too, darling. Thank you very much.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
See, I'm just here to talk with you guys. If you think something different than me, I'm not mad at you for thinking differently than me, right? And she makes some valid points, you know, and I think I made some valid points in there. You know, she's like, well, this is learned behavior. Well, murder is have to be learned behavior too, right? Knowing how to kill. Dolly.
Dolly, what's up? It's Richard.
What's up, Richard?
Hey, man. I mean, I see everybody's point, but it comes down to me to two things. Like you said, the money. It's pretty much about the money. We probably didn't know that.
Yeah, if we took the money out of this story equation, it'd be a different story. I probably would side with the girl, right?
100%. 100%.
I would probably side with the young lady that just called, and I would probably agree with her. Hey, yeah, this is terrible stuff. This type of stuff shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But
if you didn't go buy Porsches and Rolex,
the Porsches and Rolex has done them in. That's learned behavior right there.
Yeah, the thing that gets me the most is it's one dad, it's two of them.
Yeah.
Okay, if they can go out and buy guns and go practice shooting, you know they're pretty tough kids.
Yeah.
They probably played sports, you know, which means they're in good shape. So why wouldn't they just go in and just beat the hell out of the dad and call the cops right there and say, hey, come and get him?
They said he was fat.
I know, but I'm saying, why? Huh?
He said he was fat.
Okay, so then it's easier to whoop his ass, right?
Yeah.
He ain't gonna catch you. Just make him chase you around a little bit, run out of breath, take him down.
Yeah.
I mean, they're big enough that they could have jumped his dad while he was sitting on the couch. Two grown boys jump on a dad sitting on the couch, and they can control him 100%.
Yeah.
And so, to me, if that was the case, as big as they are, they would have just whooped up on him, grabbed their stuff, and left.
I agree.
But I agree with you. The reason they did what they did is so they could get to the money.
To the money. I ain't saying them things didn't happen to him.
If he was broke, it would have never happened.
Exactly.
Never would have been a murder. If that dude had no money, they had never been a murder.
I agree with that.
I firmly believe that.
I do too.
So I think,
or if he was broke, they wouldn't have killed the mom.
No,
because the mom would have got the money.
Yeah, they never touched it, but they knew they couldn't leave her alive. That's what it was.
Yeah, or they don't get the money because she would have got it.
That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just so hard. Like if they'd have called the cops right after they did it, maybe I could understand.
Instead,
if they'd have called the law right then and there and said they've been doing this for so long, we snapped. You know,
we snapped. Yep, exactly. We snapped. We were being molested. Yeah. He was going to hurt us this night. He was coming to, lube me up like P. Diddy, and I killed him.
Yeah, but he had the baby on and everything.
Right, had the baby on and everything. But they didn't do that. They tried to make it out to be a mob hit.
Exactly. So it's a stage setup, which is premeditated, just like you said. And I'm sure they probably planned this for what, months?
Yeah.
Not longer? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
The craziest part.
I mean, the letter was 8 months before it, so I'm assuming they planned it for at least a year.
Oh my God. Yeah, then that's very, very, very premeditated.
Yeah, I'm thinking they had been planning this for a year. They plotted and planned it and they executed it and then tried to cover it up.
I think that cousin just said that to be on their side.
Richard, you got a new channel? It says, Dolly,
yes,
please
sir.
share Richard's new channel.
Even showed up, Dolly.
I didn't know you had a channel.
I sent you before I even posted. I sent it to you so you wouldn't hit me with a Rico.
Oh, I'll be Ricoing people. You better be careful.
I shouted out to you in a good way, bro.
I'm handing out Ricos like Oprah.
I showed my love.
Okay.
But I did. I sent it to you.
All right. Well, shout out your new channel.
I'm just a baby. I only got 6 subscribers, bro.
Okay. Well, shout out your channel so people know how to follow you.
Oh, well, it's just right now. That's why one of the reasons why I wanted to call you. I went in and tried to put the handle on, right? And it says it can't be done right now. Do I have to wait 14 days before I can?
Yeah, you can't change your name for 14 days. You got to have it for 14 days.
Just use my email that's on the chat right now. That's what it's under.
Okay, so it's just under what? What's your handle in the chat room?
It's under that Richard McKinney, that 2102PW, whatever. That's on my chat name.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, it's his chat name. So if you put his chat name in the search bar on YouTube, what's your thumbnail picture of it? Is it the same thumbnail?
It's just I'm doing thumbnails on them, but it's just true crime. It's like little true crime designs that I do on my videos. I only got like 8 videos out. Some of them are short, some of them are like 20 minutes.
Damn, you just started and got 8 videos already?
Huh?
You just started and got 8 videos already?
Well, I've been filming some of this for a while.
Oh, okay.
So I was so nervous to do it. And then when, like when Baby Quentin got justice, it just made that day listening to you and to see how happy you were, and how hard you fought to get justice for that kid. I just had to do it that day, bro.
Okay, well, good. Congratulations. I'm glad you're doing it. Good. Good job, Richard. Good.
So I'm just doing like little searches, like some cold cases right now. And then I kind of broke the Matty Soto news because I did get it before everybody else on YouTube about what Stern said, because I was actually on.
Speaking of which, did you hear about the whole thing with her acting like she may have been pregnant? Text messaging him?
Jean's in a mental hospital, right?
I didn't know she was in a mental hospital.
She checked herself into a mental hospital the day that the police department released Stephen Stern's statement saying, I didn't start all this.
She better check herself in somewhere. She better check herself into a lawyer's office.
The same day it came out, and then I get a message from somebody that had been helping me with the thing and said, hey, you got to get it right now. Nobody has it yet.
Now, let me ask you, should Matty Soto, should she have got a shotgun and killed Stefan and Jen?
You damn right.
Yeah, she should have. I would agree with that one. I can agree with that one. Okay, I'd be like, yeah, shoot them bitches. You know
both of them. Hell. Even the roommate.
I would have had no argument, right? Because she didn't have no money, right? She would have just been doing it.
But she wanted to live in the woods. I feel so bad. Like, if people like me and you would have known that, we'd have went down there and got her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's a different case than the Menendez brothers. We got to take, if we took the money out of it, it'd be a sad thing for these people.
That's what I was thinking in my head. Like, take the money out of this situation, because that's what a buddy of mine told me at work the other night. Take the money out of the situation and then look at it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, it would never happen.
Yeah, it would have never happened. They would have ended up telling somebody, calling the police.
They wouldn't have money to kill him for. Money was the motive.
Yeah, money was the motive. I agree. I definitely agree.
100% money was the motive. He didn't want to give him nothing. He probably was going to cut him off, and they just said, the hell with you, and bam, that's it.
Yep. All right. Well, look, Richard, I hope your channel grows.
Hey, I appreciate you.
Get the name right, and I'll plug it for you as soon as you get your name. Do you know what you're going to name it?
Help, Dolly. I need a lot of help from you.
Do you know what you're going to name it?
Hold on. I got the paper right here. And you tell me if this is okay, but I've been thinking really hard, and I got my daughters to help me. You know what I'm saying? I'm either going to use Whispers of the Shadows or Whispers of the Missing.
Whispers of the Shadows.
Or Whispers of the Missing. Yeah.
I don't know. Either one.
What does that sound like? No, that's why I want your help, man.
I don't know. I mean, it's not something I would pick.
Well, yeah, I'm doing it for you. I started my channel because of watching you.
Now, I didn't pick a name. I didn't pick a name that had anything to do with true crime, right? My name, Dolly Vision, don't have shit to do with anything true crime. I mean, it don't even make good damn sense. One, I can't even see. It should be Dolly Bad Vision. It would make more sense. But
mine should be Richard. Then mine should be Richard Sucks, because I can't get nobody like a video. So.
You can't get nobody like the video. Well, I would say,
Dolly,
make sure people know it's about true crime somehow.
I know. That's why I was gonna. I have true. All my thumbnails are true crime.
The chat's saying Whispers of the Missing.
Whispers of the Missing is a good. I would think, because it's like, it makes me think of the little kids like Baby Quentin that don't have a voice, and nobody wants to help them but you, Dolly. I mean, that's what it makes me think about.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I would go with more that than what was the first Whispers of the Shadows.
It was Whispers
Shadows don't really say missing, or true crime. But missing, when you think missing, that does fall into the true crime category. And missing, you understand what's going on. You know when something's missing. It's a little more easy understandable.
You want to know why my daughter picked Whispers? Because that little ghost, the Baby Quentin, followed you. Remember? That's why. He thinks he was trying to whisper to you.
I don't know. I didn't hear it if he did.
No, because you were moving.
I'm half deaf too. I'm not only blind, but I'm half deaf.
But give me a name. I want you to post a name on my channel, and I'm going to use whatever you and PJ post. I want y'all to think
if I could come up with a good name, I would have had a better name for my channel. You know what I'm saying?
Change your name every 14 days.
I'm not changing the name of my channel. You crazy?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you and PJ, please name my channel. That would mean so much to me.
I would go with your kids. What's your kids say? That's the best way, because then it's
My
meaningful.
youngest said whispers of the missing. That's what she believes. It's going to say true crime, whispers of the missing.
You don't even have to put true crime in there, but I would go with what your kid said. For fact.
You like that?
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent.
Well, first you didn't.
I mean, the whispers of the shadows I didn't really like because it don't.
Yeah, I know I didn't. That was me. I picked the shadows. She picked whispers of the
because
missing,
it don't really
and
scream true crime if you're going to be doing true crime. Now, if you're going to be doing a little bit of everything, then I guess you could go with just any name. Like, see, my plan was
cold cases, and I'm working on a 50-year-old case in my hometown right now.
Oh, okay.
Of a 23-year-old girl that just got killed. And did you hear about the little 19-year-old in Nova Scotia that was found in the walk-in oven at Walmart that worked there for 2 years and they won't even help her?
Say that one more time.
19-year-old girl in Nova Scotia, which is Canada, worked at a Walmart with her mom.
Walked into the oven.
Her mom was searching for her and found her in the oven, burned alive.
Yeah, my daughter called me and told me about that last night.
I know. I found
guess
out
it's
last
trending
night
on
too,
TikTok. I guess it's something going on TikTok because my daughter's always on TikTok. And she's like, Dad, did you hear about the girl that walked into the oven at Walmart? Apparently she was cleaning the oven. She got stuck in the oven. There's a safety latch that lets you out, but they believe somebody put her in the oven.
Okay, the oven would not be on when you're cleaning it, bro.
I know. That's the same thing I said to my daughter.
So
I said, what, did she suffocate in the oven?
Answers.
They said, no, she got cooked in the oven.
And her phone went off, and that's what alerted her mom that also worked at Walmart. So she went up there and started looking for her daughter.
She worked the overnight. She worked the overnight shift.
Yeah, her mom's the one that found her.
That's crazy.
That is?
That is crazy.
And she's raising money for the family right now. I donated last night, and it's crazy. I mean, it's already been raised like $75,000, which is good, but it's still, all in all, there needs to be answers.
Yeah,
I
mean,
get in there.
If she walked in there cleaning it and accidentally got locked in it is one thing. If somebody put her in it, then I guess that's a total another.
Well, if she was cleaning it, say she was cleaning it and walked in it. Okay, you're not gonna walk into a freaking 400-degree oven to clean it, right?
No,
So who the hell turned it on?
Them are some big ass ovens that you can walk into.
Yeah, it's those big ones that hold the racks of bread and stuff and the donuts and all that.
Yeah, I worked as a baker for a little while. I worked as a baker for a little bit.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's
the
crazy.
ovens wasn't that big
though.
They were stacked, so you had, I don't know, you could climb in it, but you couldn't walk into it, and they were stacked on top of each other. So there was like, I think 8 of them, right? 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top, and they had all the racks in it, so you could put rolls and whatever you were baking in it, cookies and different stuff like that. But they wasn't that big where you could walk into one. All right, Richard, you been good.
Well, hey, how'd you hear I had a channel anyway? Who told you?
Somebody just said it in the chat. They left a super chat and said, plug Richard's new channel. I didn't know you even had one.
Oh, yeah. But I'm a baby. They'll probably kick me off. I got striked once already because I had music in the background and didn't realize that I couldn't post that.
Oh yeah, you got to learn the music stuff or just cut it out. I was in the
garden working and I made a little clip because I got that news about Seth Stern. You need to check into that because he said.
Did they give you a strike though, or did they just hit you with a copyright?
Well, it said it's not going to damage you, but it's to teach you so you learn. So then I went in and I said, what I'll do is delete it, right? And then I called him and he said, hey, if you took the video off, then that little warning strike will go off and you won't have to worry about it ever affecting you.
Oh, so they gave you an actual copyright, like a warning.
Yeah, it was like, because there was a song playing in the background because I have a radio in my garden, and I didn't realize that you could even hear it whenever I was talking.
Yeah, I mean, there's songs played like yesterday. They were playing Bon Jovi at the park we were at. So, I mean, sometimes there's music in it, but sometimes they'll hit you with a strike, and sometimes they'll give you a copyright. A copyright ain't the same as a strike.
Copyright, that's what it was. It was like a warning.
Yeah, that ain't shit. They don't do nothing about that.
Yeah, but I freaked out, man. I tried to leave the video. I was like, the hell was that?
Yeah, they don't do nothing about that. You all right?
Yeah, my voice is bad because I've been searching for like 36 hours straight and only slept like 2 hours. But
okay,
I don't know. I'm working on that Suzanne case and Simpson, the husband, and then now the partner got locked up for hiding their weapon and stuff. So it's a mess over there. It's only an hour and a half from my house.
Yeah, I can't cover them all. I don't know every case because I'm only one human being. My mind can only hold so much stuff.
I know, and that's what I said. If I get anything solid though that'll do, since you're way bigger than me, I'm gonna send it straight to you. So that way, if you can kind of help sometimes, if I get like right there and we are ready to crack it, then I'm gonna get you to help me.
All right, Richard, you be good,
I
my
don't know
man.
enough yet. All right, bro, man. I appreciate you, Dolly. I watch you all the time. You know that.
All right, peace. So there you go. I think Richard said it the best. And I'll open the phone lines back in just 1 second. The dad wouldn't let Erik leave for college. He had to stay home, but Lyle was at college on campus. Well, that's what he says, but we got to remember, green-eyed PI, we don't get to hear from the father, you know, that he wanted to go to a different school to where he would have left home and he could have got away from the abuse. But you know, allegedly the father said, no, you're not going to that school. You're going to this school so you can stay home and I can touch your butt. Okay. Basically, you know, but that is coming from people that, like I said, are liars. You know, in the very beginning of this, they premeditated it. They committed the crimes. They lied to cover it up. They tried to make it look like a mob hit. That's why they did the shotguns and things like this. So if the mob stuff didn't work, that the dad was a mobster. So now let's turn the dad into a molester. But there is some evidence that does point, like the very first caller, she was sweet, nice lady. And, you know, she made some good violent points that even in court that the cousin came out and said, hey, that, you know, Lyle told me, that the dad was messing with him when we were kids. But she didn't come out and say that when she was a kid. Why didn't anybody do anything? Right? She didn't come out until they were charged with murder. Maybe that's because she didn't want to see her favorite cousin go to prison. So she decided to fabricate a story. We don't know, right? I ain't saying she did fabricate it. I'm just saying she could have as a favor for her cousin. Nobody said anything when they were young. Why did only all this come out just after the parents get murdered, right? Why didn't that cousin go tell her mother, right, to do something about it? Why didn't she, right, as the older cousin, call Child Protective Services? Why didn't she report this to any? Listen, CPS existed in the 80s. Okay. Child Protective Services has been around long as I've been alive. So why wasn't any of this ever reported? None of it. Not until there's a murder. And like I said, if they hadn't lied, I could say, okay, well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. But we already know they're liars, right? Because they tried to cover up the murder and say the mob did it. And then they discovered it and was crying like they didn't know what happened. All right. You did know exactly what happened because you did it. Right. And they were crying, oh, my mama and daddy's been killed. The mob did it. Right. It's a mob hit. We know they can turn on the tears when they want. We know they can lie. Right. So when you see them crying in court, they were crying to the police when they found their parents dead. All right. Were they being real then? Well, how do we know they're being real now? Is my question. All right. Now I'm going to open the phone lines back up. But I want to throw that out there. If you're a liar, how am I supposed to believe you? Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey, Granny.
You want to know what I think about this?
Yes, that's why I got the phone line up.
It's a crock of shit.
Tell us why, Granny. Tell us why.
Those two boys were of age.
Mm-hmm.
They could have walked away.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. They did not. They did not walk away. Now, I left home at 17.
Uh-huh.
I moved in with Papa.
Uh-huh.
All of my siblings left home by the age of 17.
Okay.
Unless they've lived with abuse, but you have no idea of what it does to you. But when you get a little older, in your mind, you say, man, I can walk away from this. You get your shit up and you hit the road. These two boys were of age.
Yeah.
They could have left.
I agree.
They traded their soul for money. I don't care if he molested them or not.
I mean, I care, but I still don't think it's a reason to murder them in cold blood when you could have left. I mean,
the molestation's neither here nor there. They could have left. They were of age.
yeah. Mab says
You know,
they wanted the cash. I believe that too.
yeah, they wanted the cash.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. But they could have left. This is just a crock of shit.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to be let out. They killed them while they were watching TV.
Yep.
In a brutal, horrific way.
I agree.
I cannot agree with that. I don't. I hate it that they were molested. And, you know, they could have been. I don't know. But I know enough to know they could have walked away.
Yep.
So now they got to play the fiddler. They wanted to dance. Now it's time to pay the fiddler. And they need to stay in there for the rest of their life.
You make your bed, you got to lay in it. Ain't that what they say?
That's right. All of us girls, we left by the time we were 16 years old. We hit the road. You don't know what it's like until you've lived it, but you don't kill somebody for that reason. It's fight or flight. And we flew. That's just the way it is. They're spewing off a crock of shit. They wanted the money. This had nothing to do with being molested. This had everything to do with the money.
Yeah, I mean, if it had to do with being molested, Erik would have killed Lyle.
That's right. That's right. And all of it leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. They need to stay in there. These two are cold-blooded killers.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people aren't going to like what I'm saying, but they need to stay in there. These two are dangerous.
I agree. I agree with you, Granny.
This is awful. I know Peach Cobbler's going to be real upset with me, but they were of age. Walk your butt away.
Well, everybody has the right to their opinions. We can't be mad at each other because we have difference in opinions. That's what makes us human.
I know it. That is what makes us human. But unless they've lived it, they don't know. They could have walked away.
I agree.
Most people would have.
I agree. I think if they would have been poor, this would have been a different story.
It would have. They'd have walked away.
Yeah, they'd have walked away. There wasn't nothing for them to gain, but they had something to gain from it.
That's right. Money. And they killed their mother, too.
Yeah, that's a hard one for me to swallow.
I know.
And I never knew my dad, so F that dude. But my mom, I loved to death. Like, I couldn't even imagine.
I loved my mom to death. But y'all, you know, there were 10 of us, Dolly. And out of the 10, when that old man died, there was only 2 of his children with him.
Uh-huh.
And that was out of obligation. He was my father. There was nothing I could do to change it. It was solely out of obligation.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes it's somebody, you got to be the one that breaks the chain, you know, the chain.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. But, you know, I have never thought about molesting anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, just because they were molested does not mean that they would do it again. I mean, that their offspring would do it.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is just a crop.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that grew up in bad families and they have great families now.
Oh, yeah. There is. There is. But you watch your thought, not.
All right, Granny, you be good.
Bicycle, PJ.
All right, peace. Yeah, I mean, there's people that's went through way worse abuse than they did. And perfectly normally stuff. And great family. Change the cycle, the vicious cycle. Dolly.
Dolly.
Yeah.
What up?
What up, Mab?
Oh, not much. Finally starting to heal a little bit from the damn surgery 2 years ago.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
It's like the healing kind of just started like a couple months ago.
Oh,
weird.
sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes it takes a while, man.
Yeah, it does. If they were growing up and let's say they had been molested their whole life, that's all they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then they start going to school and they see what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
They get older, they know what's right and wrong. So they know that what's being done to them is wrong.
Yeah.
Now they could enjoy it at this point as older people.
Yeah.
Because that's all they knew.
Yeah.
So being 18 and 20, they could have whooped their dad's ass by now.
Yeah. I would agree with that too.
So did the molestation stop at some point when they were 13 or 12 and then
well, it did for
molested?
Allegedly it did for Lyle, but it didn't for Erik. The younger one. Yeah, the younger one. It didn't stop.
So he was getting molested even at 17?
Yeah.
He could have whooped his dad's ass by then.
Yeah, and he, the letter, according to the letter, he thought his dad was gross because he was fat. So
if it wasn't fat, it might not have been gross.
It might not. That's how I took it. You know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
It goes into that guy with the gaydar thing. I a lot of people think I'm joking, but I'm really not joking. He carries himself as a homosexual male. I mean, it screams it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't know if his dad, if it's, that happened to him, which made him like males, but you can clearly tell that guy likes guys.
Well, if you're sexualized as a younger person that way,
maybe that's what you're prefer. Yeah, I can understand that.
You would prefer males.
Yeah, yeah.
You're homosexual.
What do they use that? They say they turned him out. Like they say in prison, turned him out. Now he likes guys.
Yeah. Well, I knew a guy who was married for, 20 years, and then all of a sudden his wife left him and he was turned gay because his neighbor was gay and he turned out to be gay.
Yeah, I think there's something, sexually it's a decision. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people that think you're born gay or you. I think it's a decision you make.
I don't think it's as much as a decision than as a learned behavior. Because you don't just wake up one day and say, I think I'm going to be gay. That's your desire.
I don't know. In 2024, I think people do wake up and go, today I'm going to be gay. I do think they do that today. Maybe not back in the day, but today people wake up and be like, hey, today I'm going to be gay. Today I'm going to be a woman. Today I'm going to be a zebra. You know what I'm saying? You can be whatever the fuck you want to be today. You know what I'm saying? So
I identify as a dumbass.
Yeah, I identify as a dumbass. I've always been that. I think you can be born a dumbass. Okay.
But you're looking at a picture of a naked man and you're looking at a picture of a naked woman. One of them makes you have a hard on. If it's a man, you're homosexual. If it's a woman, you're heterosexual. If it's both, you're bisexual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So for them to have been 18 and 21 and decided to kill their old man and the mom, that was totally premeditated murder for money.
Yeah, I agree. If it was just them being assaulted and they really truly believed that the parents were going to kill them and they were fighting for their lives, I would say, okay, yeah, let's show these people some leniency. But to premeditate a murder for money, I can't feel sorry for you on that.
If you thought somebody was going to kill you, would you sleep in that house at all?
Hell no. Hell no.
Damn woods.
I'd be gone. As soon as I thought for real you was going to take my life, I'm like, I'm getting up out of here. I would have been taking that they bought guns with to get me an apartment.
Now, if Maddie shot Stearns and his old lady, I wouldn't blink an eye.
I mean, that's a different scenario too, totally different. They ain't worth money. she ain't doing it for the money. She's doing it because she was abused.
Exactly.
You know, if Maddie went out and bought a Porsche afterwards, I'd be a little concerned. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that to be the case. And that, you know, she was really in a lot of danger, because if she told this man was going to prison, and that wasn't her daddy, so that makes the circumstances a lot different. And and there's stuff coming out that alleges that sounds like, you know, Maddie may have thought she was pregnant.
She may have. She missed her period. I mean, that's the first. You just start getting your period, you know, maybe a year before that, or how old was she?
I mean,
17.
No, she was 13, wasn't she?
Yeah,
13. But kids, these young girls these days get their periods way before 13.
Somebody in the chat said, "I need to patent the sexuality test kits."
I mean, I don't know. I mean, this day and age we live in, you can be whatever you want to be. I mean, that's just a fact.
Oh, this bullshit about I identify as this and that. You can change it, and you can get in trouble for not using somebody's fucking pronoun. You got to be out of your goddamn mind.
I mean, it's that whole.
Not sorry.
It's the whole woke movement. You know what I'm saying? It's the whole woke movement. I mean, listen, I believe be whatever you think you are in your brain, but don't push it on me. Yeah, I don't care what you are. You know what I'm saying?
Why I've always said about the gay community back in the day, you know, in San Francisco, I don't care where you stick your ding dong. Do it in your bedroom, and I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want it shoved down my damn throat.
Yeah, like straight dudes ain't shoving.
Get the hell out of here.
You know, it's just, that's the thing. Don't push your beliefs onto me. I don't care what you do in your life. Live your best life. I don't care if it's you want to be a damn lawn chair, a man, woman, sleep with damn whoever you want to sleep with, but just don't push your stuff on me, and I'm not going to push my stuff on you.
Exactly.
You know, if we could all agree to that, we'd live in a better world.
Amen.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
You be good. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, I want everybody to live their best life. I don't care if you're gay, if you think you're a woman, if you're a woman that think, live your best life. All right. Sleep with whoever you want to sleep with. That's personal stuff to me. Right. Anyway, when you start putting your personal life all out into the world, it's not necessary. I believe like that type of stuff is personal to you. Like what you do in your bedroom stays in your bedroom, like Vegas. You don't, you know, when you start pushing your beliefs on everybody else, or, you know, especially with, you know, like if I can't tell if, you know, and I mistake what you are, you shouldn't be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Because it happens. You're right. I remember when I had long hair, right? I'd be walking down the street and fucking dudes would whistle at me. I was like, I had about time for me to get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? That's just what you, unless you want that shit happening, but people make mistakes. You don't know, right? I respect everybody, and you know, much as I can. Like I don't care. Like I said, I don't care. I want everybody to live but you only get one life. Enjoy your life. Do whatever makes you happy, right? But don't force feed other people your life, because people may see things different. They may view things different than you. You know, just be happy as you, right? Don't think the world has to. Even if people don't accept you, who cares? You know, everything in this world is just opinions anyway, right? It's just opinions. Live your best life. Do what you do. And it's the same thing. Like I believe, you know, I'm a Christian man. Okay. But I hate when Christians try to force Christianity on you. And I believe in God. I still hate it. I just hate it. Like, don't push your beliefs onto me. Let me take my walk, this journey in life, and let me come to my own conclusions and let me find my own way. And I wish more people would be like that, you know, but that ain't the case. Everybody wants to force everything down your throat. Short change his mind. Got to be truth somewhere. The mom knew. You can say allegedly, okay?
Dolly, what you do in your bedroom?
Hey.
Hey,
it's Christina. I wanted to let you know that you've changed my mind on about this case about the Menendez brothers. I hope you can hear me. I'm on speakerphone, everybody.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, and I think that you got good points. I didn't think it until today because I used to think they should be get out because I was molested as a child, but you got good points. If they were really, I do think they might have been molested, but they could have left home. The thing is that made me change my mind was the fact that his brother molested him. How come he didn't off him? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, if you're mad about molestation, but yet you're molesting the boy, but you're mad at your dad about, then and then you're gonna kill him over it, your dad over it, but you did it too. Why not,
and then the uncle supposed,
Mm-hmm.
And then the uncle supposedly, this was years ago, heard some noise coming from the room. Well, don't you think if he heard something, his ass would have went in there to see what was going on? I think that whole family's crazy.
Maybe so, and maybe there was some overlooking of molestation going on, but it like I told the lady, I said, listen, you know, I could even maybe agree with you that they may have been molested, but that ain't, even though they were molested, they still plotted, planned, and executed and lied.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
When they should have just came out and said, hey, I'm being molested. The reason they didn't just do that is because they wouldn't have got $14 million if they would have done that.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, you got it. See, I was in a situation with a guy that tried to kill me, and I had to do what I had to do, but that's a totally different situation. I didn't go to wait the next day while he was sleeping. I actively did something. I told him, you come at me again to choke me, I have a knife, and I had to do what I had to do, and I went and luckily I had a witness, so I'd be in prison, but that's a different situation.
Yeah,
but these people weren't actively, the guy, like you said, they were sitting watching TV and everything.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, if you was defending yourself, I would have a totally different
view. Yeah.
If this man was trying to rape you and you killed him in the commission of that rape, I wouldn't want you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're innocent, let this dude out of prison. But if he's sitting on the couch and then 5 months later you come in and shoot him,
right?
Then you're a murderer. You're not a victim anymore. You are the victimizer at that point.
Yep. And I have a hero in my family because I got raped as a child, and I told a certain person, which I'm not going to say who it is. A week later, the guy was dead. But that's a different situation because I'm sure if your child gets molested, that's a different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this stuff is totally different. It's crazy how people think, because then it's going to make it look like, let's say somebody kills somebody, they're going to think, well, the Menendez brothers got away with it. I'm just going to say somebody raped me, and there you go.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It sets a bad precedent for other people and other crimes that will happen. We'll have similar things that just go down, you know. If you don't learn from history, it's doomed to repeat itself.
You got that right. And then people use excuses for, I was molested so they can touch somebody else. Bull crap. I wouldn't do it even if I weren't molested, but being molested makes me even more protected.
Yeah.
And people use anything. I'm bipolar, but people try to use that as excuse for things. I wouldn't. I'm more safe to be around anybody, even though I'm bipolar, but people use excuses for anything. You know how they'll do.
Yeah.
Excuses for this and that.
Yeah.
Just to get away with shit. The world's so corrupt, they'll do anything.
Everybody's mental once they kill somebody. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I was crazy. I mean, I was insane. Yeah, you were fucking insane, or you wouldn't do what you've done.
Oh, they'll cry like a baby. When I was in the emergency room, I had to go because I thought I was going to die. And luckily, I didn't have an aneurysm or anything. It's my tooth that's getting right. A guy was in there acting like he was dying, and I thought he really was. He had me fooled. I was praying for him. Come to find out, when the security guard said, I hope you know the reason we won't helping him is because he's a pillhead. The dude done fooled me. I thought he was hurting. He was sitting there going, help me. And come to find out, he was just trying to get damn pills.
Like
that's crazy.
Even the Menendez brothers, when they found their parents, they were crying, acting like they didn't know what happened. So were they? Yeah. If they were fake tears, how do we know them tears in the courtroom won't fake?
Exactly. They just trying to get away with stuff. I'm glad I watched you today because they had my ass fooled.
Okay.
I mean, even if they were molested, but all that other stuff adds up what you're saying. And there's a lot of ifs, like you've been saying. A lot of people saying if this, if that. You know, that's right.
All right, you be good.
I'm glad I got to talk to you, brother. You have a good day.
All right, peace.
Hey, stop.
And like I said, you know, she said it too, the ifs. There's a lot of ifs. But let's take the ifs out. Let's just take the ifs out and let's just stick to the basic facts that they planned the murder. They executed a murder. They tried to cover up a murder. And only when they got caught, and I mean only when they got caught, they said, I was molested. All right. Now, if they would have just murdered them, called the police and said, I snapped, like Richard said, I murdered my parents. They've been molesting me for 20 years, and they started fighting it right then, I would have a different opinion than this. Okay. And we always got to remember this. And I've learned this from a young age. And people get brought up differently. I was always taught 2 wrongs don't make a right. Right. So if you wrong me, I don't care how you wrong me, it is not okay for me to do the same things to you. It's not. If you hurt me, it's not okay. Now, if you're trying to hurt me and I defend myself, it's totally different. But if you do something to hurt me, and then later on, I come back to do something to hurt you, that don't make it right. Okay. That don't justify my bad behavior. Okay. Now, I know SA is brutal, and I wouldn't want to see anybody. Never mistake this. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I don't want to see anybody assaulted. Man, women, child, nobody. I don't want to see anybody hurt. I love everybody to death. I wouldn't want to see anybody suffering any type of pain in this world. But it's hard to believe people that are known liars. Okay. Now we have to agree, even if you're on the other side, okay, of this argument here, this debate is what I'm calling. I ain't even calling it an argument. That's why it's titled debate. All right. Because we want to discuss. We don't want to fight. We're grown-ups here. We're not a channel full of kids. So there's no reason for us to fight about anything. This is more of a discussion. You don't have to believe me, and I don't have to believe you. We don't have to agree. That's what makes this so great. Okay. We can have our own separate opinions and still leave from this respecting each other. Right. Because I understand why some of you believe this, because y'all believe some of these ifs. If this, if that, if this, if that. But my logical thinking says, well, let's just take all those ifs out and let's just go with the facts of what we have. We don't have anything else to go by other than the facts. We could say maybe aliens anal probed the daddy, and that's where he learned it, right? When you start adding maybes and ifs, it could be anything. Those could go on forever. I mean, and forever. But if we just stick to the facts, and that lady did a good job that called in. She stuck to the facts. She stuck to what was said in court, what was presented in court. Okay. And we know these things to be true that she was saying because we've watched the court case, right? Now, I didn't know so much about the pictures because I don't really remember the pictures. I'd had to go back and refresh my memory on what pictures of the child they had. But far as the cousin coming forward and testifying, I do remember her, what she said, that she went up there, got Kitty. So she's speaking truth. Okay. So we can only go with what we got. Now, we can't say she's telling the truth, but what we can do is stick with the facts that they planned, they executed, and they tried to cover up. Now, the crying and lying in the beginning, right? We know that's right now. We know that's a lie, right? Everybody agree with that. That's a lie, that their crying and their lying was fake. It was fake. It wasn't real. So they get into court, they start crying and telling this story. How do we know that's real? That's all. Only point I'm trying to make is, how do we know? How come we couldn't believe them then, but we can believe them now? And these are people that have done some pretty heinous things. Like I said, they didn't just unalive their parents. They brutally murdered their parents. Okay. And I mean brutal. I mean unrecognizable. You know what a shotgun will do to you? And imagine being shot 8, 9 times with a shot. I think the dad was shot 9. I think the mother was shot 8 times. I think I may be wrong on those numbers. Don't quote me. Sweet Jones, thank you for jumping on the Dolly train today. Right? It literally blew their faces off, their hands off, unrecognizable. Okay. Unrecognizable brutality is what they did to their parents. Who could do that? Who could do that? Like, just like we think who could molest a child, that's horrific, right? But what they also did is horrific. I don't know if their family's just crazy, something's in their DNA or whatever, but I wouldn't want to take another chance with these people on the streets. Okay. Like, if they were capable of doing that to their parents, you know, somebody that you love. Hold on. I got a call coming in. Hold on, callers. My daughter's calling. Let me mute this for 1 second. Okay, now you can call in. That's my daughter. She said she ain't feeling good. She needs some soup. Okay. All right. So should I kill her? Okay, because she needs soup. All right. I'm coming to get you with a shotgun, Tiff. I'm coming to get you. How dare you need soup? All right. Dolly.
Dolly.
Yeah, Doug.
Doug from Tennessee.
All right, Doug. Are these dudes innocent?
No.
Okay.
They're guilty.
They're guilty.
And you know, you remember they said that Mama took him up to the bedroom and had a talk with him?
Uh-huh.
He changed the sheets, brother. She washed the sheets.
Uh-huh.
That's why she took him up in the bed and said, you and your brothers weren't having that shit. Daddy ain't got nothing to do with it.
So you think it was just him and his brother? They were fooling around and Pops didn't have nothing to do with it?
Yeah, and all they wanted was the money. Because Mama said, I changed the sheets, son. I washed the clothes.
Uh-huh.
I washed the sheets. The sheets are dirty, son.
Okay, well, how do you know that's not from the dad, though?
Because it ain't in the dad's room. It's only in the brother's room.
Uh-huh.
I just believe they were doing each other and they wanted that money. Mom and Daddy said, get a damn job.
Well,
the money.
Yeah, at some point, you know, they did. Now, unless they were lying and they didn't mess with each other, but in court, they did testify that he molested his brother, that he, you know. I mean, it's a little bizarre, but that's what he said.
But I'm just saying, man, they wanted that money. Daddy then said, get a job. It's time for y'all boys to go to work.
Yeah.
You're old enough to get a job. You ain't going to college, get a job.
Yeah.
I'm tired of supporting your ass.
Yeah. I mean, you know, even my kid, she got a job when she was 16, 17 years old. She went and started working at Walmart, you know, her first job. Yeah. Now she works for a different place and she's doing good. But she started working at 16 years old.
Well, when my daughter was growing up, this woman we used to eat at a restaurant she owned, she said, I want your daughter.
Uh-huh.
You ain't getting my daughter. He said, I'll have her one day. When she turned 14, she give her a dishwashing job.
Uh-huh.
Paying her like 10 or 12 bucks an hour, more damn money than I made.
Yeah.
And then when she turned 15, she let her wait table. And this woman gets business like you wouldn't believe at their restaurant. And here my daughter was bringing home $200 or $300 a night in high school.
Yeah, well, Tiff, she works a corporate job and she's pretty high up, right? So
yeah, man, this was a kid's job at 14, 15 years old. She was bringing home $200 a night tips.
Oh yeah, she's doing good then.
Yeah, and so that woman finally got my daughter.
Yeah. Tiff just got a. My daughter just got a promotion. Yeah, and they're going to be flying her around to train people. So she's going to be flying all over the East Coast to train other people now.
I give her a high five because I ain't flying nowhere.
I know she's scared to fly, so she got to get over the fear of flying, which I did. You know what I'm saying? I was scared to fly.
I love to play golf, and I was offered to go to Georgia down there and play golf, and he's gonna fly it down and pay for it, and I wouldn't go.
Oh well, yeah.
I told him, tell me when you're going. I'll haul the club down when your weight will be lighter.
Have you did any flying, dog?
Never.
Oh well, you would have to sit in first class. You couldn't sit in economy. You couldn't.
No, this was a own plane. The dude on his own plane.
Yeah, you would have. You're too big to sit in the regular seats in a plane.
I'd have to fly first class, huh?
You would have to fly first class. You couldn't fly that. You couldn't fit in the seat. You're too big.
I'm glad I know that before I ever get on one.
Yeah, you would have to. They would have you. They would seat you. I don't even know if you could sit in a place where it's like where even if you flew in economy, if it was 2 seats, you wouldn't have enough leg room. Even with the, you know how you pay extra for leg room, you still wouldn't have enough leg room at your height. You just wouldn't.
See, that's why ain't no sense me flying. I just drive everywhere.
You would have to fire first. You would squeeze in there, but it would be like you would wish you didn't.
I'll just drive.
And I mean, I'm little, and it's tight for me. I can imagine how they'd fit your big ass in some economy. They would have to sit you in. Now you got room in first class. You got plenty of room in first class. But in economy, they don't give you shit. They think everybody's midgets. I don't know what they think, but they jam you up in the littlest fucking space they can fit you in.
Could you just see me going up there and say I'd like to have the economy?
They would tell you that once they seen how tall you were, they were going to. They would probably recommend you. Hey, you can't fit. You're going to have to fly first class, business.
Or you're not going to fit.
Or you're not going to fit. Or you would have to get multiple seats. I don't know how they would do it, but it ain't the seats. You would fit in the seat. You just don't have the leg room that you need, unless you sit with your legs pinned to your fucking chest. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you would fit in it. I don't know how you would even fit. I've never seen nobody as tall as you in economy. I've never seen nobody that big in economy.
I'm a pretty tall fella. I just noticed that in that picture on your thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You'd be hitting your head and you'd be jammed up in a seat that's about this wide. And you got about this much leg room. I don't know how the hell your feet are too big. You know, like where would you put your feet? Like it would be crazy.
You see, wouldn't that make a great bodyguard though? You
make a break. Yeah, you had to fly you around in first class. That's what I'm saying. You're an expensive ass ticket. I think when you're that big though, they should have something for big and tall people on a plane. I mean, I guess they don't. I guess the average is for the average person, not the above average. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you was wide, they'd sell you multiple seats. They'd say, okay, you need 2 seats, but you ain't wide. You're big, wide, and tall. So you would need multiple seats and long ass leg room. What are you? What are you? 6'7", 6'6"?
About 6'5", I reckon.
Okay, yeah, you're pretty fucking tall. I
put that hat on, makes me about 6'8".
Yeah, that may be what it is. So you had that big hat on too, but you're pretty damn tall to be sitting in the back. All right, Doug, you be good.
Peace, bro.
All right, peace. Yeah, Doug is big. I met Doug in Tennessee, and Doug is a big ass fucking dude. I mean, he is not small by a long shot. You know, he is tall as shit, big as hell, right? I don't mean like wide. He's just big and tall, right? So, like, I don't know how many of y'all done flew economy. I can't even do it, and I'm 5'7". All right, I'm jammed up in this thing like, what the hell, right? I don't know what they think munchkins are flying an airplane or what the hell they think. The last plane trip I took, oh my Jesus, right? So I done made it where, you know, for the extra leg room, it's $39.99. I'll tell you the price. You know what I'm saying? I fly Delta. It's $39.99 for, I think it's 12 inches of extra leg room, right? Or 9 inches of extra. I don't fuck if I know, right? But usually I get it. Okay. So I had like a short flight from Boston to Norfolk, which is about an hour and a half flight. It ain't very far. Okay. It's pretty quick. No, it was from Boston to Richmond. Okay. And then I drove back from Richmond. But from Boston to Richmond, hour and a half flight. So, you know, I was being cheap and Dolly ain't rich, right? So, you know, I fly economy. I ain't first class type. Hold on. Hold on, producer. Hello, producer. Okay. Did you talk to Tiffany? Okay. That's fine. All right. I'll see you when you get here. Love you. All right. Bye. All right. That was the producer. All right. Anyway. So like I was saying, you know, Dolly's trying to be cheap and, you know, not spend that $39.99 because I could use that $39.99 for something else. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get the economy seat and I'm going to fly back. So when I booked the plane, they didn't have nothing but middle seats. Now, usually if you get the end seat, you're all right. And if you get the window seat, you're all right. But the one seat you don't want to end up with is the middle seat. All right. Especially when they got the 3 little rows and you in the middle. I get on this plane, and this is no lie. The dudes that were sitting beside me, they were every bit of 300-pound guys. All right. Nothing against fluffy people. Nothing against you fluffy ass people. These are some big ass dudes. I mean, they're damn, you know how you got a little armrest? Their belly was in my seat. You know what I'm saying? Both of them. I was literally on this plane. This ain't no fucking lie. I had about this. I was crunched like this with my legs jammed like this for an hour and a half. Right. And that might not sound like much. Right. It might not sound like much. And these were big, 2 fat, sweaty ass dudes too. Just, I mean, I think I had a roll and like it was bad. It was fucking bad. Like I don't even know how to describe it in any other. It was a dolly sandwich. Okay, it was. They literally were. I didn't have an armrest. I didn't have nowhere to set my. I was like this, like T-Rexed up in this bitch, right? So crunched up. When I literally went to get up to get off the plane an hour and a half. My legs were asleep. My arms were fucking numb. Right. And I told myself, I ain't never doing this again. I was like, there's no way in hell. Like, I will wait a day, take another plane. If I can't get the outside seat with the extra $39.99 leg room, I'm not doing it. And I'm a small guy. Okay. But they put me between 2 of the biggest dudes on the plane. Right. And it was bad. It ain't going to happen again. I can tell. I get off the plane first, right? I'll get off the plane. I'll be like, hell no. And if it would have been a long flight, oh my God, it was a short flight too. Hour and a half, Boston to Richmond. Quick. Like, you know, you go up and you just coming back down and landing. I was literally like, when I got on that plane, I was stiff. I couldn't hardly walk. I was just like, Anybody ever been caught up in a situation like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, wow, holy shit, not again, Satan. Right? Dolly needs a private jet. Okay, like these preachers. Like, I should have been a Southern Baptist preacher, so I could have got me a G8 or something, you know, G7. But no, I had to pick YouTube, right? I had to pick the YouTube where they put me between 2 of the biggest, sweatiest motherfuckers on the planet. Right, with no leg room. They got their luggage on the floor and just taking up, like, I mean, like, they wouldn't have fit. And I don't know how they squeezed their ass into the seats. Okay. It was like sitting between the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the Kool-Aid dude. Okay. If they were flying on a fucking plane, that's literally what they had me between. Right. And I was just like, you couldn't like even tilt your head because if you did, you'd be laying on the dude next to you type shit. I was just like, No, Satan. No, 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 no. And the only listen, because they charge you $20 if you want a window seat or the outside seat. The only window you don't have to pay extra for is the middle seat. And you know, my whole logic is, hey, this is a quick flight. I'm going to be there. Let me just take the middle. It's only an hour and a half. How bad could it be? Okay. Because, you know, I'm a positive person. I think it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. Oh, hell nah. Won't happen again, Satan. Won't happen again. Hell no, I won't even fly. If I can't get the outside seat, right? And usually I don't like the outside seat. I like the window seat because I like to fall asleep. And for some reason, my head tends to dangle. And they hit me with the cart one time, too. You know, the little fucking cart they push down the aisle. My head was kind of hanging over, and the lady bumped my head with the fucking cart while I was asleep. So then I decided, okay, well, let me get the window. Then I'll lean this way and sleep, right? Which ain't bad. If you can get the window seat, you good, because it gives you a little bit of extra room, and you can kind of put your head where the window is, and you can kind of just, you know, nod the hell out right there, right? But yeah, learning lesson, right? Don't be broke in this world, okay? Don't be broke. And if you can fly first class, do it. Do it, okay? That's what I tell everybody. So anyway, I'm going to open the phone lines back up. I got time to take maybe one or two more calls on this. And I want to jump into the Delphi murders a little bit. Okay. I might not be able to get into the Delphi because we already been talking about this for 3 hours. May try to get into the Delphi. If not, me and PJ will talk about it tonight, like 9 o'clock. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly, I just need 1 second, bro. It's Richard.
Yes.
Can I have a second?
Yeah, you got a second.
All right. Hey, thank you, and thank all the turtles. Y'all just freaking about blew my phone up. I gotta have to get a bigger phone.
Okay. Did they sub you up?
I went from 6, bro, to like 96 in 5 minutes.
Okay, well, let's make sure he at least gets 100. Okay, a good hundo.
Oh man, I replied to everybody. That messaged me. No matter, I don't care if it's 20,000. I'm still gonna reply to everybody. You can tell by my voice I ain't been sleeping a couple of days, but I've been working on trying to get these videos. I just can't get the edit part down.
Tricky.
I don't know how you do it so good. I just can't do it.
Years of practice.
The editing. Yeah,
Well, I don't edit many
practice.
videos. I go live.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just searching live, and I put it on whether the camera's facing the ground and my dog's running around. She got her first hit today and laid down, bro. I was so happy. But because we're looking for a weapon from a 50-year-old murder case of a 24-year-old woman down here where I live. So they cleared a field where they think they threw it, the weapon.
Hold on, Richard. Hey, one of my mods post Richard's channel. Post his channel for him.
I think they did, because there's like everybody, like at least 15 or 20 people. I just had to reply to all of them.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get one of my mods to post your channel.
Thank you so much, bro. I love you. And you know we're gonna work together sometime. I want to work with you so bad, at least once.
All right, there they go. They posted it. Sage.
And I ordered me a $249 starter drone.
Okay.
So if I crash it, it ain't gonna come out, and I'm not out a whole bunch of money.
Cool. All right.
I'm not charging anything for my channel anyway. So like I don't even know how to do all that yet. I'm just learning, and like I tell everybody in the chat, I'm just learning right now. I'm growing, but I'll get there. I think with your help, Dolly, I'll get there.
Okay.
All right, man. Thank you, bro.
20%.
That's fine. You can have 100%. I don't need the money.
I'm just playing. All right,
yeah.
you go.
Hey, if I get a plaque before you, I'll give it to you. I'm playing, man. I just had to.
You might.
I'm never
gonna
hit 100K, bro.
Never know.
You
never know.
No.
Don't.
I'm too old. I won't live long enough to hit 100K.
You'd be surprised.
But I know. You never know. But I'm just basically just searching with my dog, and that's it. Just me and her.
All right.
But all right, man. Thank you, Dolly. Love you, man. Peace.
Peace. Sorry, I had to eat this piece of candy. And it's caramel, so it's like chewy. Hold on. Dolly.
Hey, Dolly. It's Amy from Alamo City.
Hey, Amy.
I just have to say that I'm really glad that Richard's got a channel and that everybody's going over and subscribing.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's great. I just went over and subscribed. So, yeah, But I know that I thought I heard last week, and I've been forgetting to mention it, that Richard is looking for the lady that's missing in my community in San Antonio named Susan Simpson. Suzanne Simpson. She was a mother of 4 here from the Alamo Heights area, which is a very rich part of town. They were members or went to a party at the Argyle Club, which is an exclusive club. My sister is a funeral director here in San Antonio, so she knows about the city. I've only been here a couple of years. But yeah, I think that's who Richard's been looking for lately, is the lady that's missing here in my town.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know nothing about them elite clubs. You know, they don't let broke
I
ass
don't
people in there.
either. Yeah, I don't either. And then when I found out we were only 21 minutes from that area where she come up missing from, it was just like, whoa. They searched one of the San Antonio landfills for days, and they never found her.
Wow.
They had, I guess, whatever reason to look there. No sign of her. And then last week, the husband is in jail in the Bexar County Jail. Now he's there under a $3 million bond. He was there for a $2 million, but it was $1 million on each charge. Dolly, they were misdemeanor charges he was in there on, but they must have video. They have a witness and of him like attacking her in the front yard, and he drug her back into the house. Or either she ran from him, and there's like a park, a huge wooded area that's like right across the street from their house.
Yeah.
So, and then like an hour later, his truck popped up. And then last week, his business partner, his last name was Cotter, he was arrested because he had one of this guy's guns. He was holding on to like an AR-15 or whatever. He had it hidden in a wall in his house, Dolly.
Okay, name the case one more time, so when me and PJ come back later tonight, we'll pull it up and we'll discuss
Sure, yeah, sounds good. It sparked my mind about Richard. So yeah, but Menendez brothers, man, they're guilty. They don't need to let them out of jail. They shouldn't have killed their mom and daddy. That's a doggone shame.
Okay, name the girl one more time so when I can look up the information on her.
Her name is Suzanne Simpson.
Suzanne Simpson.
Suzanne Simpson, and her husband's name is Brad Simpson.
Okay.
She came up missing on October 6th. She was seen going into the Argyle Club, it's a real exclusive club here in San Antonio. I didn't know anything about it. And she's seen the last time alive wearing a black cocktail-like type of dress.
Okay.
And they said that I guess they got into some kind of argument there at the club or something, and it spilled into their vehicle, and then they went home, and that's where the neighbor, saw something and didn't say something.
You know what the husband's charged with?
It was like unlawfully restraining someone, and I think something to do with taking her phone. Yeah, but they were like misdemeanor charges, but the ATF is involved. There was like another gun that they found even before the business partner got caught with the gun at his house.
Somebody's asking, is that the wealthy realtor case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
He was a very wealthy, well-to-do realtor. In fact, the homes that she sells are really nice. Like,
yeah,
I don't even know. Yeah, so she's a realtor, and he's had a lot of bad and shady business dealings over the years. In fact, the guy, even better, the guy Cotter, he was in Grizzly True Crimes chat not even less than 10 days ago. I was listening at the time, and he said, yeah, I was his best friend and business partner for 14 years.
Oh.
And then it came out online the other day that he was the guy that was in her chat. I was like, what?
Yeah, well, a lot of people watch.
Richard's probably listening to all this going, yep. Richard probably knows more than I do, and I live here.
Okay. All right. Well, me and PJ will dig into it tonight.
Yeah, I'll let you go. All right. Push up to Richard. And bye, PJ.
All right. Peace. So, yeah, definitely if there's a case y'all want us to cover or you guys are interested in, let us know, right? Because we need to know what you guys are interested in. We want to talk about things that, that interest you guys. We don't want to talk about shit y'all don't care about, right? So, Dolly, say happy birthday, Z. It's my grandson, please. Oh, is his name Z? Happy birthday, Z. I hope I got your name right. PJ.
PJ.
Hey.
I want to put my thoughts in the Menendez debate.
Okay, let's do it.
There was a couple of people that were really upset and emotionally charged over just a simple debate because I think one of the ladies said she had her own abuse, and I believe that's the majority of what the people that do have that strong belief are basing their decisions or mindset off of.
Mm-hmm.
And when I sent that one super chat, I was hoping it would come through correctly, but it didn't, of course. But I wanted to ask the person, since they're the ones that also I allege were abused, would they be okay with them going now and offing their abuser?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would, wouldn't unalive their abuser. Sometimes I bet they wish they could, but they know it's wrong and they don't.
Right, but even you said just here in the last hour that if it didn't involve money, then it would be a different story and that they would be okay to walk, but they still premeditated offing their parents after being allegedly abused and not mentioning it until after they off their parents, and they still premeditatedly off their parents. Like, it's so disturbing to me how people can talk ill of the dead and just be complete, just somebody that watched a documentary based on something that these two men said.
Yeah. And, that's based off of their opinions and their recounts of the story, not anybody else's.
Right. I even saw people in chat saying stuff like, oh, he was a monster, talking about the deceased parent and whatnot. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, how did you come up with that conclusion? And I really hope somebody wouldn't ever say stuff like that about me when I'm gone. Like, it just, I don't know. But that's why I said I believe it's because of their past abuse. But if everybody that's had past abuse history, does that give everybody a right to off their abuser?
Well, if you have past abuse history, your opinion's probably pretty swayed on this. You're going to want to believe them because it happened to you. But that don't make it true.
Right, and that shouldn't be your basis on judging a situation ever, because every situation is different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then money talks. People were saying how, oh, they don't have that money, or they didn't ever have the money. BS. They didn't have to work. They were getting an allowance. They didn't have enough money for whatever, and therefore they freaking did what they needed to do. If they wanted to just get away from their abusers, they had all the ability to simply get up and leave. Like you said, they bought weapons. They could have bought apartment freaking rent.
Yeah, that I hate to be so real with people, but I'm just saying, them guns, you could have paid your rent with what them guns cost.
I mean, the truth hurts. A lot of people are basing their opinions on their past abuse, but it's not the same. And saying that and saying, hey, I was abused also, so I understand it. Well, did you off your abuser? Probably not. And that's why it's not acceptable. You're not God. You can't take the law into your own hands. Like, you always say an eye for an eye, but that's not really how society works.
No.
I'm going to get into a dead spot. I'll let someone else call.
All right. Bye, babe.
Love you, bye.
So yeah, I mean that's a good point she made. Like, listen, if you've been abused, of course you're going to be a little biased to the situation. You're going to feel sorry for other people that say they've been abused, but everybody that claims abuse ain't always abused. Dolly. Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
This is Tanya from Georgia.
Hey, Tanya.
Okay, so I moved to Adairsville, almost in Cartersville. I think that little picture of Jesus, Junkies for Jesus, my neighbors. They had to take the signs down. We even took our mailbox down so we don't get confused with them. Anyway, I'm an 80s lady. So, I mean, and I live in Georgia. Here you kill somebody, look what's going to happen later on. She's going to get a 30-year sentence, right? She's going to be 10. But how much in 10 years do you pull? 7. Been in prison over 30-something years. Shit, let them go, man.
You think?
Been out 20 years.
Well, they got life without the possibility of parole, and Leilani's going to get more than 30 years. She was convicted on all 3 counts of murder.
Oh, she got malice. Now, malice will F you up. Now, yeah, she deserves malice.
That's the worst charge you can get in Georgia is malice murder.
It seems like Georgia used to be the only state, but maybe Georgia and Texas does malice murder. There's only 2 states that do it.
Yeah, it's the worst charge you can get.
You're absolutely correct. Okay, yeah, she might do over 30. But any of my people I know that got prison charges or murder charges and do 30 years, you do 10, it's really, you're going to pull 7 off the grid.
Yeah, my buddy got charged with murder. He got 24 years. He got 40, but they suspended 16.
Well, see, it ain't even suspended.
All right, hold on a minute.
Anyway, what y'all all doing? Hello out there in TV land, you YouTubers. Free the Menendez brothers. Here's my thing. They're spoiled brats, but they're not the same people they were 33 years ago, Dolly. I know I'm not who I was 33 years ago. I was skinny and hot, I'm old and not now. And there's 2 kind of people in the world. Those that are humble and those that are about to be. Them boys have been humbled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're setting good examples in prison. They're changed. They're not who they were when they were little teenage brats. Even if they wasn't really molested. I mean, it's been 30-something years. Let that shit go. Send them home.
Okay. Well, look, I appreciate you calling, Tanya.
Well, holler at you, Dolly.
All right. Peace.
Have a good night. Bye.
All right, guys. Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up till PJ gets here. I will be back later tonight. So, hold on. Let me turn my camera on. And we didn't get a chance to get into the Delphi stuff today. So, we will get into that tomorrow. I mean, tonight. We'll touch in on the Delphi stuff and some of the other things that are going on in true crime tonight. So, until then, you guys be good. Stay safe, and I will talk to you later. Peace.